Spoilers of the Damned.
Hello and welcome to the Spoilers of the Damned podcast, episode number 47. I have deja vu.
Like I've been here before.
Yeah.
I'm just doing this.
So for anyone who wasn't here, because we will have cut that part off for the VOD, we managed to start the podcast and my microphone just wasn't picking up at all. Due to a Windows update, so thanks for that, Windows.
Yep.
Thanks for that,
I had
OBS.
that
Thanks, Windows. That's incredible. Wonderful.
Do you know what? They heard about how many windows I shot in Castle Dimitrescu, and they've got issues with me.
Wednesday, I need to do that in the next playthrough.
Isn't that a challenge to break every window?
Yeah, it's a
And
trophy.
I'm surprised I didn't
Trophy
get
in the
it because holy crap, I love breaking glass. The false glass must break, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, I was very happy with that challenge. That didn't take me any trouble at all. But we were talking just before we started the first time. We were talking about Silent Hill 4 speedrunning, and I was describing my nightmare that I had with Eileen recently. So I moved over to PC. I really would like Axton to move over to PC. Like, basically, if you're an Axton fan, just like constantly hound him in the street at his house. Just tell him that he needs to speedrun Silent Hill 4.
Signs.
Yeah, signs, placards, pitchforks, whatever it takes, basically, is what I'm asking for.
We'll see. We'll see. Like I said, I don't hate the speedrun. I just don't really want to move to another platform when I already have the game, and it works perfectly fine on my PlayStation 2.
But it looks nicer on PC, and it runs faster, so you'll get a faster time.
I'm not in a hurry. When it comes to speedrunning, I swear, it's like I'm not in a hurry. For me, it's about having as much fun as possible. If I have to do a run again, great, job security, you know? You just keep doing runs until people, you know, as people still enjoy your streams and all that stuff. And
that sounds like the
I don't
Bill
get
Good
ever get a world record.
He was a speedrunner who wasn't going fast.
I left that life behind.
I left that life behind. You can't bring me back. I'm retired now.
I left Eileen behind.
I never left Eileen behind. Never. Ever. Except that one time.
Oh, I also did your Valve thing as well, just so you know.
My Valve thing?
You know when the one time you went to the water prison and you didn't actually run the electricity, the water to the electricity?
Yeah.
I did that.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
But you knew at least
more excusable when it's
power.
your first or second stream of speedruns like you did, as opposed to like your 10th fucking stream of speedruns.
See, my thing was I didn't turn the power on, and I got to the hole I'm supposed to get to. It was dark, and I'm like, I don't know what I did wrong, but the hole's right here. Jump in the hole, do the things I need to do, climb back up. Everything's still normal. Why is this other room also dark? Doesn't matter. Not my problem. I don't pay the electricity bills. So I jump in, go to the door. I can't see the keypad. It's too dark. I'm like, you
can't see the keypad, and the keypad's right fucking there.
Yeah, and it's the same keypad as every other keypad ever in the world. So it's like, just guess. Hit the buttons and just guess. And then I was like, this is a run killer. And this is the thing. Like, I think that was actually the run where I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to be in a hurry, because me saying it was a run killer was wrong, one thing, because I had a PB on that run, even though it wasn't like the best possible you could ever get. But I still finished, and I still had a PB, and I was like, you know what? This is the attitude I'm going to have. I'm never going to have a run killer, except for that one time when it was already past 10:30, and I was going to go to Whitney's stream, and Eileen had... What did she do? Oh, yeah, she did the poetry thing. No, she did the possessed thing, where you didn't understand a word she was saying.
Oh.
And she damaged you when you got close, because she's just like radiating hate or something like that. She did that twice in a spiral staircase. I'm just like, you know what, Eileen, you're having a really bad day. Let's just go home.
Let's call it a day.
Yeah, just call it a day, sweetheart. Come on. But see, that's the attitude I like to have, though. It's not... I've never had a bad day playing Silent Hill 4. If Eileen has a bad day, though, then that's fine too. We just go through it. It's fine. No anger, no negativity, no resentment, no hate. Just love Eileen. It's fine. It's okay. See, look, that, bam.
Every time that happens, I think to myself, well, at least it's like content for a blooper reel someday.
Yeah. or it's just experience. Or as a streamer, if you react well to it, then it's entertainment. No matter what, whether you made a world record or not, you're still producing entertainment. So long as you're not like son of a bitch, which is also entertainment, but it's not the kind of thing that I'm trying to produce. So,
when we get on to the main event, pretty soon, I'm imagining we will also talk about Village of Shadows mode, which has been making a lot of people like that.
mm-hmm.
I can't wait for that. I've decided I'm not even going to touch that until I've done a few more playthroughs. I mean, I don't know if you can change the difficulty for New Game Plus.
Yes, you can.
If you can, then I'm not even touching that difficulty until I have every weapon unlocked. Well, all the weapons I want to have unlocked with unlimited ammo.
It's pretty much
Then I will go to
that mode is pretty much designed for people to, like with Resident Evil 3, you could kind of like do Inferno mode with those extra items. It's the same kind of thing. It's basically just people who like hate themselves and or like like pain who have been playing it without any New Game Plus items. And there are people who are now speedrunning it. Like they can do the mode consistently in a speedrun, which is insane. Because me and Axe have both talked in the past about Carcinogen and SDA, and he just kind of noped the hell out of there because he felt like the mode was just too unfair. And there were people in his chat going like, "Oh, but blah blah blah's done it." And he's like, "I don't give a shit. I'm not having fun."
Yeah, like, I'm not having fun.
Which I totally
go
get.
and watch them.
Exactly.
Yes, just go watch them. It's fine. Like I actually went to Carsey's stream yesterday or the day before, and he was doing the no damage run, which is really I think his forte anyway. He's really good at doing no damage stuff, and he's segmenting it right now. So he's broken it up into like 22 pieces. If he gets no damage in piece 2, he moves to piece 3. No damage in piece 3 to piece 4, and then eventually he plays the whole thing as one long segment. And like Carsey is really cool. But he's got such an edge of attitude to him that, like, I don't think I could ever emulate. For example, while I was at the stream, someone said, "Hey, I usually use the Magnum on those guys," and he says, "Thanks for the heads up, but I don't give a shit. I'll figure it out myself." And it's like, fuck, dude.
Yeah, there's the no backseating tag, and then there's like the fuck you guy.
Oh my god.
Right. I mean, I would just like let that go. I just wouldn't react to that comment.
Yeah,
just
like if that guy is like copy pasting it like 7 times, then maybe you can let the lid off a bit.
Right.
Yeah, like initially someone's like, "Oh, because you don't." That's the problem with text, though, isn't it? It's like you don't know the inflection behind it, like the inflection of the voice. It might be like,
right.
"Oh, I usually use that against it." It might be more that, and or yeah, he's probably read it as them going, "Well, I use the Magnum against them, and you should as well."
Right.
Maybe
right.
they're saying it more, sharing their experience of, "Oh, I usually use the Magnum against them, but you're using this,"
Yeah.
Which is why with Backseating I always kind of let a few slide because again, like inflection and stuff. But if it's constantly, you should do this, it's like I know, you should do this, I know. And I've had that a lot with a game called Barrow Trauma that I've been streaming with my friends, and we're doing like campaign and that. And you get people that either know it inside and out or have played it inside and out, and they love to just tell me how they've played it and how I should play it, like somehow thinking that I give a shit. And it's gone to a stage because I don't want to get. I do get frustrated with them, but I don't want to like snap at people. So, something I'm deploying recently is to just look directly at the camera and say, "Yes, I know."
Yeah, which is the
and
best. I think that's the most reasonable way because that's a clear like. That's the animal world equivalent of like black and yellow stripes or something. Like basically, you're saying like back off, fucker.
Yeah. It's like fucking no, right? Yeah. So yeah, it's Backseating, but yeah, I think from that example you just brought up, like that seems like a bit of a thorny response.
Yeah, but I mean, to be fair, Carsey's been at it for years, and I'm sure he's dealt with it a lot. Kind of like
hundreds of people in his chat as well. So I bet it's not even the first.
He actually had 1,000 people. He had 1,000 people doing that. I was just like, damn. If there's ever like an example of how one person could pull a career out of streaming or whatever, Carsey's a good example. He can play literally anything, and he'd have like 1,000 people watching him do it. It's ridiculous.
Cool. Yeah, good for him.
I mean, my chat is fairly good, but I'm looking forward. I'm starting Demon Souls this week. So I'm expecting that genre of game to garner maybe a bit more advice than others, people who think that they know how to do everything.
Yeah, I've
Mhm.
been quite lucky when I've done I did Dark Souls 2 for a fair while with Dark Hoover, who doesn't stream now. I don't know if he ever is again, but we didn't have any then. I didn't have any people like that for Demon Souls, which is nice. And I don't think I've had anyone like that for Bloodborne either. I had one person who, and I couldn't tell if they were joking or not, that basically said I wasn't a true fan because I didn't know the lyrics to one of the boss's themes, and I couldn't tell if they were like saying it jokingly or not. So I kind of
Right.
ran with it.
Well,
So that
Lost, did you know the lyrics?
no, I didn't. So I just
Out.
kind
It's
of
out.
I know I so I
ETFO.
said to them, and I kind of stopped what I was doing, and I kind of played into it a bit, because it's like if they are joking, they'll know I'm joking. If they're not joking, this will piss them off. And it was a case of it was something like, well, I think maybe I should just stop this right now. I think what I'll do actually is I'll I'm gonna write out a tweet, and I'm gonna message Miyazaki tomorrow, and I'm just gonna apologize, because me and him are really tight, and I just hope that I hope he can forgive me, really, and I hope all of you can forgive me as well. Yeah, I should probably give my fan card back in.
Mhm.
I've let everyone down.
That's the perfect response, to be honest, because humor is the best way to deal with these kinds of people.
Right.
I've already I've preemptively thought of something, because I've recently I've created a new Twitch that I'm going to be doing kind of more rhythm action and fitness style games on, and
Yes.
I'm already cognizant of the fact that I am an overweight person, and that people are going to be kind of they might have negative comments if they jump into my chat for the first time. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of already preemptively thinking of searching for the keyword fat, and then having a thing that plays that's like, congratulations, blah, you've made the first ever joke about me being fat, just appear on the screen, because
An observation.
exactly. It's like, you are the first person, congratulations.
Like I used to know a guy who and it basically taught me the definition of the word curmudgeon, where it's like they can't let anyone be happy about anything around them, but they will always sit in the background and continue to make fun.
Yeah.
Like they will challenge you to continue doing what you're doing and make fun of you while you're doing it, because it makes them feel better while they're not doing it or doing literally anything at all. And those are the kinds of people who'd come in and say, "Huh, you're fat." It's like, chances are they are too.
Yeah.
Chances are they're unhappy. Chances are, because if they're at a Twitch watching somebody play Beat Saber, they're not at the gym. They're not driving their Lamborghini around. They're not doing their best life. They're probably just as unhappy, and it makes them feel better because it validates them for beating themselves up as well. It validates them if they beat up other people as well. If they bring everyone down with them, and that's the kind of energy you can't tolerate anymore. That's like instant ban for me. It's like, if that's no, not even a joke. Fuck off straight away.
Yeah. I outright banned someone. Not this Sunday just gone, but the Sunday previous. It was this guy who came in, and it was Barotrauma again. Like, Barotrauma was a great game, but it does seem to attract dickheads. It's like elitist dickheads, like the worst kind of gamers. Like,
Well, actually, if you do this, this is way more efficient.
look, I didn't ask you, but thank you.
Yeah.
Let me play the game. Do this. Let me play the game. And he came in. And our friend Alex, who I'm up with, hadn't played the game before. It was like the first day he'd played it, and he was playing the medic. And the medic role is really fucking difficult. There's a reason that I play security or the captain, because I know exactly how to play them, easy, simple. No, none of this engineering shit. I have to rewire the ship or hitting people. No, I shoot the guns. I arrest people, or I pilot the ship and I make decisions. It's like, that's fine. I can do that. And Alex was playing the medic, and this guy was like, "God, that medic's rubbish." It's like, okay. And it's like, oh, he's really incompetent. Like, yeah, well, it's his first time playing it, so don't do that.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Stop
Oh my
it.
god. And then he made a comment like, I came on Twitch hoping maybe to join a crew on Twitch, but not these guys. I'm like, cool, go and join someone else then. It's like, bye.
Dude,
Like,
there isn't a
why-
submarine big enough for your ego. Fuck
Yeah,
off.
and also if you're having to come onto Twitch to find people to play with, maybe that's saying something.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
if,
then
if
it's
you
like,
have to do
why
it,
even comment at all? Just
Yeah.
leave the stream. Like,
Just-
these guys aren't worth it. Go
Yeah.
somewhere else. Find someone else.
yeah, it was like, that was my response. It was like, oh, okay, well, bye then. Goodbye. But well, the funny thing is he then went on to Golgakalak's stream, who was streaming it at the same time and was part of the same crew. It's like, so you hate it, like you're that annoyed that you've just gone to his instead. And he was being really snobby there, and Matt apparently just said, "Don't spoil the game for me. Let me play it the way I want to." And they shut him up. Like, I can do it. The guy has no friends. Yes,
Like-
Esquire, yeah.
Like the mentality of backseat gaming. I mean, it's fine. Like if someone wants to offer you a hint that you probably would never see, that's perfectly that's okay as long as they ask first and all that kind of stuff. But when it comes down to like basically taking you by the nose and dragging you to the credits, it's like fuck off. Go back to playing it yourself.
Exactly. Like,
You'd get there much faster without me. I promise.
Yeah, it's a fine line. Yeah, because it's one thing to be like, sat in the room with friends playing it, and you're all kind of like, oh shit, there's a thing over there, or because
Yeah.
sometimes when you're playing a game like, obviously you're so focused on like the action or something, like you might miss an object, and it's happened to me in the past. And someone's gone, oh shit, there was a shiny over there. Like Tom, when I was doing Resident Evil 8 last week, I didn't realize you could take the boat the other direction. And you're like, oh, the boat goes both ways. I'm like, oh shit, does it? If you hadn't told me that, I wouldn't have known.
I think
So that's
it helps,
fine.
Yeah, I think it helps as well if it's someone you know and trust, and especially if they're a streamer. Because I was in a friend of my channel, and I think Axe as well, Laurie Bethel's stream the other day. She was playing Silent Hill Downpour, and she was looking for this bulb, projector bulb, and it isn't in the movie theater, right? And she was like going round and round the movie theater looking for this bulb, which makes perfect sense if you're playing the game. So I was like, do you want a hint, Laurie? And she's like, okay. And I'm like, the bulb isn't in this building. And I didn't tell her where the bulb was, and she went and found the bulb anyway. She didn't need to know where it was. She just needed to know to like not circle this room for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And
To expand the search.
That makes the stream more fun to watch for people who are watching, because they're not seeing her search. Like, I let her search a couple times, because she was making jokes about like the toilet and stuff in this like cinema. But yeah, there reaches a point where like I'm as a viewer, I'm like, I think they would probably not mind a hint, so I'll ask.
Yeah,
I'll always offer it, but never like just go do this.
Yeah, like you did that, and my friend Richard, who's you see sometimes in the chat as Ricky Mo, he did the same thing. Whereas I'd missed one of the labyrinth balls for House Beneviento, and he's like, I think I'd found, because I saw it. I was like, oh, I didn't get the ball. And he went, do you want to know where it is? It's like, and I would say to him was, yeah, have I missed it, and can I go back for it? And he was like, yes and yes. I was like, okay, cool. I was like, well, we will do that once we've done the next area. He's like, cool, that's fine. And then he told me where it was, and I found it. So, that's fine. Also, like you were saying, like with streams as well, is that because you've been in that situation where you're like, oh fuck, I can't find this thing. Oh Jesus Christ, I can't find this thing. I caved with Siren 2, and I still intend to finish Siren 2. Like, I don't know if I'll be doing it this week because I've got nothing scheduled, or maybe I've got next week off, but maybe the Friday, whatever. But whenever I play next, I'm just gonna have a guide up on my phone, because I love the game, and I really want to finish the game, but I don't want to have to keep. I don't want to go, oh chat, fuck, we've got to go back to that mission again, that really hard one, and pick up like a noodle that was in a bin bag, so that this character can slip on it later and fall into a tunnel. I don't want to have to do that, basically.
Just the one noodle, actually.
It's just the one. Because I think stuff that's okay. Ask for help then, because like I said, like if you've been there, you know how they're feeling. Because they may be like, because obviously I'll often put on jokes, stuff like that. But in the back of your mind, sometimes you're going, "Fuck, shit.
Yeah.
I'm running. Oh, not only is the time ticking on, but this is probably getting really annoying." And you start to like internally
Building up
panic.
all that anxiety. That's what it
Yeah.
is. Anxiety.
And then you just relax. You either relax, and you go, it's fine, like I did with Bloodborne eventually, or you just say, "Does anyone know where this is?" So, does anyone know what this fucking thing is?
And see, that's the reason why I just like when I'm doing the Silent Hill 4 speedruns, I project like Eileen is fine. She can't do anything wrong. I love Eileen, even though it's like a mnemonic in my head, and it may not actually be true. It's a better projection of my personality if I care about someone as opposed to like fucking Eileen. You know,
Come on, Eileen.
I watched a Let's Play of Silent Hill 4 once by I'm not going to name them, and they were rough with Eileen halfway through the game, and they received as many comments or so many comments about it that they actually changed their attitude towards her halfway into Let's Play as they're uploading.
Wow.
This was back before Twitch was so big. This was back when Let's Plays were like, they were something you waited to watch every single day because that was how you followed your favorite content creators. You watched them upload YouTube videos, and they didn't have streaming yet. And he was like, some people have been saying that I've been too rough with Eileen, and I guess that's probably true. And I was like, because in my head I was thinking, yeah, you were. It's a video game. She's wounded. She's in pain. She's limping. Fucking stop abusing her. Just be kind. Holy shit.
Oh, yeah, she was going out to a party.
Yeah.
And then he got murdered by a supernatural serial killer with serious mummy issues.
Yeah.
Who thinks your apartment is his mum. And now she's in a strange hellscape. She has no weapon. She has her arms in a cast. She's still wearing her heels. And the only weapon you can give her, I think, on the first playthrough is a bag or a chain.
Yeah, you can give her a handbag. Eventually, you can upgrade to a chain. And holy shit, she made Ghost Rider proud with that fucking chain, man. In my casual run, man, I was running from a ghost. She turned and said, "Fuck this ghost." I hit it with the chain. And I was like, you know what? I turned around. Let's get this ghost.
She starts feeling like, are we the bad guys? I'm feeling quite bad now.
I actually clipped that because it was like so cool. I was like, you know what, Eileen, we're best friends forever now because that's the kind of shit I like. Right there, stand your ground and start beating the shit out of them.
Yeah, and like most of the time, because when I played it, it's over a year ago now, wasn't it? When I played it.
Yeah,
I don't think I never really got annoyed with her. It was more just like, come on, you know, just to move a bit quicker. Because I tended to, obviously, because I wasn't going for like a fast time or anything, I just killed everything we came across over anyway, unless it was a ghost. But most of the time, I think I just pinned them down anyway, like the special ones. But yeah, like the only time I can imagine and understandably people getting annoyed with her is if they're speedrunning it, and in that one room where it's the door gets smaller as you, no, the room gets smaller as you get to the
the generator room with all the twins or whatever.
That's the one time I can absolutely understand people getting pissed off and it's not even her fault. It's just because it's like, hey, here's like 8 enemies. Fuck it. It's like, what?
Can I just take a second to say thank you, Axton, for the generator room strats. Great, Axton. Ever since he gave me the strat for the generator room, I died on the generator room on one of my runs, and I was getting so frustrated. And he just said, like, just have a clip in your gun, just shoot them in this way, get them in a line, and it works every time now. Honey sweet. I've never had a problem in that room ever since.
Because I remember you said that was like a failed runs in that room, and then I think it was either the next day or the day after. Like next day, 2 days, whatever. That Jew Horse was doing a run as well, and that was exactly where he died.
Mm-hmm.
And the worst thing is he got past them, he got to the door, but she just didn't make enough distance.
She'll get hit a lot, and if she's not close enough, you can't get through the door. Yeah.
Like it is faster to not kill them. It is so faster, like by like 2 or 3 seconds or whatever. It's faster, but you will have your run end every single time, or more often, like a good 50% of the time your run will end because once she gets hit, she's not moving anymore, and there's like 9 of them. And if you ran past them, and even half of those enemies came over to her, they're all slapping her. Like it's one hand per enemy, all giving her hands, just pop, pop.
And
if she gets on her knees,
they hit her, but if they get her on her knees, it's fucked.
Yeah.
And the problem is, because it takes more time to shoot them, the speedrunners, especially the ones that have got like a stake in trying to get the world record, for instance, I'm never going to be that close, but like because they have a chance at getting close to it, they will always just roll the dice on the fact that they could get through it without doing that strat, and in doing so, yeah, like Axe says, it's like a reset point, one of several reset points in the run, where it's basically like if you don't get the luck fall exactly the way you need to, it's fucked.
Yeah, I suppose the other one's the Warmen, isn't it?
Can be.
Yeah, the Wallman you can do a static strat on that where I saw Garlips like shoot the two middle, because like when you're going down the escalator, there's only 4 of them. If you shoot the 2 in the middle, then you get hit by the first one, it's no big deal. You're still going down the escalator. You hit by the second one at the end, you're still going down. It's fine. It's a slower thing, but that's my thing that I like about the Silent Hill 4 speedrun is that there is enough RNG to cover for your mistakes if you just keep going and you finish the game. With the exception to Eileen falling over, being possessed, or doing whatever else where she's going to sit there for a good 5 to 10 seconds, because that could probably kill a run, especially if it happens twice in the same room. There's nothing you can do about it. So, like, if I have a bad wallman, then I can have a good hospital room where I get L1R1 or L1R2 or R3L5. That's still fine, you know? Or if I have a good one truth, that saves a good 10 seconds at least. That totally covers all the mistakes that I'd had. I could still get a good PB. So it's like there's enough RNG that I can cover up for mistakes that I make along the way. But if I make all the right moves, eventually the RNG is going to fall in my favor, and that will give me a world record or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was you actually pointed out to me that the world record doesn't actually have especially great hospital luck.
No. It has average hospital luck. He gets hung up on corners all the time. There's a couple of movement errors he makes that I don't even make, where it's like it looked like I was watching an amateur speedrun. But the differences were it was in Japanese, which I think might matter on the PC. Right. I don't know if it is. I don't know if it does, but that's what he runs it on, so I'm going to guess
that it has on the PC, which just loads faster as well.
Well, actually, no. This was the world record PS2 run, because I don't care about the PC.
Fair enough.
The PC run, but I don't care about the PC run. It's just beneath me. But I think what it is, it's a Japanese PS2, and I think maybe that makes a little bit of a difference. Not just the language change, but the Japanese PS2 itself. But yeah, for the most part, it was Japanese PS2. He made some movement errors. Had average RNG. It was just like, if you can imagine how the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line, he's closer to that than we are when he makes his movement through areas. And I think that's what shaves off the second here, second there, to 30 seconds throughout the entire run, which turns into a minute or whatever. So.
Well, I learned something literally last stream I did. I had a guy called Aaron come into the stream, who is one of the like more higher level speedrunners, and he told me that there's a way to like guarantee that Eileen will not be limping after subway second. You have to wait on the stairs for this sound of like Cynthia despawning in a room before you go forward, and apparently that can take anywhere from like 4 to 20 seconds. But if you wait for that sound, then you're not leaving Eileen in a room with Cynthia, so she doesn't get damaged. And it's consistent. So although you might be waiting there 15 seconds for it, once you get that sound, you know that you're going to have, especially if you get a good Warman 2-3, then you know that Eileen's going to be fine.
So even if
we want Eileen to be fine.
We do want Eileen to be fine, because
right.
Otherwise your Forest 2 is really bad.
Yeah.
But I think we should probably move on to the main event now, because we've done our little bit of
it's been about 48 minutes. We have some time to spend on Resident Evil 8. That's the whole point. I think it's safe to say that we have spoilers ahead for anyone who hasn't played the game. We're just going to go straight through. There's not going to be any. It's called Spoilers of the Damned. That's how it is.
Exactly, and it's not like we're going to be posting images of it and spoiling it for people online. This is the clue is in the title of the podcast.
Right.
What, you guys are spoiling it for me? Oh, I thought it was a joke.
That reminds me, Enigma was talking about when he was streaming RE8 and how there were just people coming into the chat being like, "Hey, have you got to spoiler it yet?" And he's like,
Thanks.
Sam.
Apparently, our podcast is exclusively about spoilers about the band, The Damned. So that's all people are expecting.
Shit. Damn it. I bet that band's really pissed off. They never talk about us.
They won't let us have any surprises. Keep spoiling everything.
They targeted us. Fuck off.
Okay. So, who wants to go first?
I think Garlips should go first. I think you were the.
I mean, I can.
He certainly has done the most content.
Yes, I do actually. I've been trying to figure out how we're supposed to pronounce the title of the game because obviously it's making a point in the title that the text, or the logo that it is 8, but it's 8 in the village. So is it Resident Evil Village? Is it Resident Evil 8 Village? Is it Resident Evil Village?
8-age.
Something strange. 8-age, yeah.
I like Vadage. That's cool.
Yeah, Vadage. Like,
rolls off the tongue.
Is it? I mean, you know.
Or is it 8-age? No, it's 8-age because V is part of the 8 in the Roman numerals. So
might be. Also,
8-age.
Are we gonna have like a strange crossover game where Foxhound end up getting to a bit of a fight with Wolfhound?
Could we?
It's a bit close. It's a bit close, right?
A little bit.
Foxhound and Wolfhound. It's like,
but I actually I read this in the concept art. If you purchase it in the extra online store, with the completion, the challenge points, you can read the artist's commentary, and with the Wolfhounds, they're actually named that way because they're hunting lichens. So that's why it's that way. Where
also that they were supposed to have a much bigger role than they did, which is why they've all got names and separate like models and stuff, because they were going to use them.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, it's Umbra. Like, who the fuck is Umbra? It's like, it looks exactly the same. Oh, that's Lobo. And then it's like, and I'm the female character. What's the female one? And it's like, you only ever hear her. Is that Umbra?
Yeah,
I can't remember which one's which. I don't know which one of them they are. Like, they all fucking look, like, dressed the same. Like, oh, they're wearing different shirts. Like,
it's like one of
one's
those.
Got jeans on.
It's like one of those extended ads for like 90s action figures, and it's like once you've got past Action Man, then it's like Drill Man and like
yeah, it's Chris and his
Refuse
friends. Buy them
Man,
all,
and it just like you go down the list of like all these guys with names and abilities, and it's like no one cares.
Yeah, and it's the fact like it I do like the briefly touching on the concept thing. I love the fact it's got the notes, like the creation notes. I think that is a really cool idea, and more games should do that because it's really interesting for weird nerds like me to read like, oh, this is why they went with this decision. Oh, that's why they did that. That's really cool.
Yeah,
Instead of when you see, like, because of like the Resident Evil 2 and 3 remake had really cool concept art, and there was like some really good concept art for 2 where it was like a mansion, like a lab in the mountains. It was like a cable car, but never explained why they didn't do that. And it would be nice to know why they did and didn't do stuff. And then I kind of had a bit. It was a bit cringy. It's like, oh, and they refer to Chris as Alpha. I'm like, oof. Like, oh no,
he's the alpha of the wolf pack.
It's like, oh, not with some of this.
Ethan knows what's up because he's in Ethan's phone as Alpha as well. So like, Ethan knows to like bow and make way for that Alpha.
I'm like, I'm Alpha. It's like, oh, don't give those loonies on the internet any more power. Like, yeah, Chris is the Alpha. His Alpha needs a gun. But get back to the rest of and he called him Foxhound. Get back to the rest of Wolfhound. It's a problem I've actually had with a lot of the recent Resident Evil games, mainly 2, 3, and now 8. I don't like how poorly fleshed out side characters are. They either turn up for one scene, die, or are never seen again. And it's becoming a bit of a thing. Like 2 did it, not as much, but it did have like, hi, I'm Ben, now I'm dead. And the same with like Brian Irons. Like, I wanted, like, the Brian Irons they'd made was really gross, and I wanted to see more of him. So I'm interested. They fleshed out Annette okay, but there was so many characters they just felt like they did well with Marvin, for example. But so many other things. It's just like, hello, oh, I'm dead. 3 was quite guilty of that as well. Oh, hi, I'm Murphy Seek, dead. I'm glad you modelled him. and he was in all your promotional art. Now he's dead. Like Mikhail. Mikhail's got 2 scenes. He's got more scenes in the original, I think.
I think the worst of that, just real quick. Sorry, I just have to get this out. The worst of that was the cheeseburger in Resident Evil 2 remake. Okay, now you can continue.
The cheeseburger.
The cheeseburger where the fucker was, it was there and it was gone. You know, it's like that's the best side character.
No, you're right. Actually, no. But
it's a pretty good cheeseburger.
It's the same problem I had with like the whole Wolfhound thing. It's like that, like they should be in it more. This should be more of a
absolutely.
And even I'm like getting spoilers. Like, Chris is not in it enough. Sorry, he's on your fucking box art. It should not take me 6 or 7 hours to see him again.
Yeah,
just saying.
And he's got like the lichen face on one side. I'm like, oh, is he the bad guy? Yeah. No, this has nothing to do with anything at all.
I felt like there's because obviously we'll get into the plot in a bit, but I think if you just see, you don't have to like meet him right away. That the first time when you meet him in the fishing village, fine, that's fine, keep it in. But maybe you see him like you get sight of him in the distance, and it looks like him and his team they're doing weird things, and you know he's with Blue Umbrella now, and you're not sure. And then you meet him, it's like I think he saved me, but he still was a bit aggressive. And then you have the reveal, and you go, oh. Okay, I'm glad. I thought it was going to be this way, but as a fan and like consider, I really like Chris as a character. I'm glad. Okay, that's good. It's a relief. Instead of, where the fuck is Chris? And that's kind of how it became a bit for me. And he's in it a lot right at the end, which is great. Even if I didn't buy him caring about Ethan as much as he seemed to at the end of the game. But that's because we don't have enough to build up to that. There's not enough. There's only show don't tell. I can read about it. Oh, Chris did us a thing and he trained us with weapons. Oh, that's why I'm good at shooting now, even though I wasn't 7. That doesn't matter. Oh, Chris did this. Oh, okay, that's fine. He really likes me, and he's really sad that stuff. It's like it's character stuff in their recent games that I think needs the most improvement. And it's kind of a nitpick, but at the same time, it seems like so strange and pointless to put all the work into designing characters if you're not going to use them. Do you know what I mean? Like, there is, and like I'm making it's like I said, it's a nitpick about the whole Chris thing, but the final act of the game, he's in it a lot, which is cool. But it's all the others. It's like you've made like 5 new characters that are supposed to be really cool, and they're supposed to be like the elite, right? That he's taken with him from the BSAA. I don't know anything about them. The only one I know anything about is the female agent, and that's only because in the concept art it says that she worked for the DEA. I don't know these people. I know one of them's got like is he South African or is he like Australian? He had like some kind of, it could be Australian, could be New Zealand, could be South African, could be British. I wasn't sure what his accent was.
Yeah.
I know his voice.
And I was like, we will get round to that section, but like my least favorite section of the game was playing as Chris, and
it's a shame.
Yeah, it is a shame, but it's we'll get into it. But yeah, like there were so many people talking on the fucking thing, and I was like, I just do not give a shit about any of these people. Like the only difference I could tell was that that's a lady's voice and that's a guy's voice. I wasn't even listening to the difference between the guys. It's just like inane COD-based chatter, like.
Yeah, it's like, come on, Alpha. It's like, okay, we're going to go meet up with Price. Like, oh, so you're on the wrong set. Sorry, you're on the Call of Duty set. That's miles away. It's over there.
I think my least favorite was the one who would give you shit if you weren't pointing the laser at the Mega Mycete at the end for any reason at all. Like, I've got 15 weapons, and that's a problem. So, I'm trying to reload my gun. I had to use both hands for that. So, give me a fucking break, all right?
Why can't we attach this onto my head or something?
I'll just be like, like shooting this way and looking at it.
There you go, son. Targeting. Blown up. Hey, it's good. What the fuck are you 5 doing?
Yeah, right? What are you fucking doing this goddamn thing? It's a laser. These things go a distance. Fucking get the sniper on it.
Yeah. Well, like, at least, I mean, then the least amount they could have done is, because that bit's very action heavy, maybe we fight Lycans with them. And then we can see how they all work as a team. Because you keep telling us the best of the best in the BSAA.
Chris is called Alpha for a reason. Alpha don't need help. Alpha just goes in solo.
And as
Yeah.
my housemate pointed out for any Archer fans, he's wearing a tactor-neck. He is. He's cosplaying as Archer. I'm
Yeah.
just gonna wear this and get my guns out. But yeah, that's a problem I have with side characters in these recent games. Like they're they have to be careful because otherwise it's gonna get to a stage of, oh, this person's probably gonna die. And it's like when people die, it should be shocking. Like, and it was shocking when very early on a lot of the I thought side characters died. I thought were going to be side characters died, and it was very shocking. But if you keep doing that, you instantly, as a player or anything, you're not going to get attached to anyone. It's like, they're probably going to die because they're not Chris, they're not Jill, they're not Claire, they're not Leon, they're not XYZ established character.
Yeah.
I have just met you in this situation. You're probably dead. It's like all the people on the train in Resident Evil 3.
Yeah.
Oh, we've got all these survivors on the train. Boom! What's that sound? Oh,
Boom.
the nemesis is just... Oh, they're all dead.
Yep.
Kind of what your point leads me on to a point that I was going to make, actually. This whole idea of, like, you meet someone, you maybe spend a little bit of time with them, and then either they die or you have to kill them, and then you move on to the next one and to the next one. Does make it feel kind of very segmented. And I was reading that apparently the main approach with Resident Evil Village was this idea of a kind of like a horror theme park. So the idea is that the village is this central hub, and then you go to these different areas. And I mean, you've got the Resident Evil 4 castle, you've got the PT style horror section, you've got the creature feature with the fish, and you've got the factory kind of like industrial setting. Quite a lot of Resident Evils as of late have kind of had that kind of metallic, kind of like industrial feel.
The combination of machine and
and I mean,
living.
I think in a way that approach sometimes is good in that it breaks up things. So if you're not feeling a particular place, you know that you're not going to be there for the whole game.
That's
but
true.
At the same time, I just feel very much like it is kind of like a sideshow that we are just like we're on the ghost train, and it's like this is this bit, and then we move on to the next section, then we move on to the next section, and kind of like alongside the fact that characters show up and then disappear very quickly means that you don't make like connections with these things. It's just like, oh, you're the next person who's going to die, or like you're saying.
Exactly, and that's why one good example in the modern games is, I think, Marvin in Resident Evil 2, where they give him far more than he had in the original game, and you do make that connection with him, so that when he does reanimate, it is sad when you have to put him down. And the character even just says something in game of, sorry, Marvin. He's like, sorry, I had to come to this. But, not even a throwaway line. And that's great. But then there's so many other instances where it's the same dev team that she's like, fuck it, he's dead. Like, I'm not saying that I wanted characters like Murphy Seeker in Resident Evil 3 to like be fleshed out, but it's the fact that you go to, like I said, you have all this trouble to model. Like, and modeling characters is not as easy as it used to be. Let's be honest. All this thing, and then
yes and no. I think they just scan them in now, right?
they Capcom
we've got you now.
But like it's like, use them more. Like, and then when like Tyrell's character in 3 was a bit more fleshed out, which is cool. But it shouldn't be, oh, we fleshed this one out instead of this one. So well, maybe you should flesh them all, like, more of them out. I want to see more of this. It's your chance to retell the story, in the remakes anyway. And at least in Village, we got to meet some of the residents of the town, village, whatever, and it was good. But they, again, not in it enough.
10 seconds and they were gone. Like I was sat in, first off, I would just like to say Resident Evil Village, great. I enjoyed it.
It's
good game.
Great, yeah.
Okay, cool.
I just want to get the bad stuff out of the way
because it sounds like
we're
like instantly nitpicking, but like we are nitpicking because it was good. So there were kind of things that really kind of clearly stick out as kind of like sticking points.
Exactly.
When we got taken into the house, and there was that guy who was drinking in the suit, the cynic guy who's in every kind of like,
bit of a George Romero movie.
And I was like, oh, this guy, he's gonna be, we're gonna have to like save him, and he's gonna be thankful or something. And it's like, no, 10 seconds later, everyone was dead. Even the main one that we were supposed to keep alive dies. And Ethan's like, why is everyone dying? And it's like, because Capcom just don't want you to spend time with them.
I mean, I think her, like that girl's death was the most irritating because it was lousy writing for me. Like, because she saves Ethan by pumping a shotgun into her father, spoilers, who had just turned into a lichen. She's like, yeah, like she does it like stone faced.
Yeah,
Like,
right away.
She's transformed into Sarah Connor from Terminator 2. Boom, dead. And then he comes upstairs and he says the name. She's like, Dad? Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? Did you just have a concussion?
I was even buying the character because, you know, like she shot him and that was out of character. I was even buying that because afterwards she looks really solemn, really upset. Like, and you're like, I'll go and find the items we need to get out of here, while she's just kind of like taking it in. She's shocked. I was like, that totally makes sense. And then they went back on it.
It's like, come on.
Yeah. Like, it would have been better if Leonardo, her father, or I think it was Leonardo, just didn't come back. And like the floor gave way when you're trying to bring her up on the roof, and then she fell in the fire that way, you know. But instead, she turns around, sees Leonardo. But in her defense, her father did say her name. Like, there's some humanity returning for some reason, somehow, which doesn't make a lot of sense with how the Lycans seem to transform. But it happened. He's like, Elena, and it's like, and then all of a sudden she's like, wow, maybe I shot him back to life. I don't know. Let's go find out what happened.
Shot the virus out of him.
Yeah, maybe she shot the bad part away, and now it's just the good parts left behind. Who knows? So she runs down there, and then she gets caught up in the fire, and they all die, and it's all very, very sad. But I will like to say that Ethan showing emotion is far better in this game than in Resident Evil 7, where he was so much of a blank slate that, you know, it was just kind of funny watching him putting himself back together all the time, and, you know, just being like, man, fuck this, fuck that, or whatever, because he was a very Henry Townsend character. What the hell, what the hell, what the hell? Here, at least, he's actually like, man, this fucking sucks.
Yeah, I mean,
and you start to feel for him. It's like, I know, buddy, Capcom wants to just shove you into the meat grinder and turn you into hamburger for some reason.
That's why. Oh, sorry. I just wanted to say that's why the villagers die so quickly, is because it's to show that Ethan has compassion and wants to save everybody. It's like character building for him, which is good. But the problem is, like, yeah, you sacrificed the last villagers alive, and now suddenly there are no villagers in this story about a village.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then very suddenly, that village starts to feel very empty.
Very empty.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It could do with some respawning lichens, at least. Because, after I cleared a place out, it's like, I can just run around here. It's no problem. The only things to shoot at are chickens, pigs, and goats.
Yeah. And I do like like you said, touching on the characterization of Ethan. He's far more chatty now, which he should be. And I get what they were doing in the 7, where it's supposed to be like, it's very blank slate. He's you, you are him, you know. You are reacting for him. It's like the Venom Snake in Metal Gear Solid 5 things like, well, the reason he doesn't talk so much anymore is because you are Venom Snake. And it's like, oh, and it makes sense when the game ends as well. I'm like, okay. But it was very out of character in 7, like, you embed an axe into your wife, and he's just like,
did it.
Oh god, hello, you just punched. Oh, hello, man, you punched me in the face. I'd be like, oh, I'll just kill.
Yeah.
You think he'd have more emotion? Just bitch.
Sort of get your point, but at the same time, I feel like there was enough characterization in Resident Evil 7.
There is some, but there's
felt
moments
like
where
Ethan said enough and did enough to, like, there was a sense of his character. Like, all the people were saying like he was just cardboard. Like, I don't agree with, because like he says things like when Marguerite takes the torch, he goes, well, that's special. And like when you do attack Mia and knock her out, he's basically like when he gets the gun in the attic and he goes, fine. And it's like, that's good.
Oh no, there's good moments. It's like there were moments where he should emote more.
Yeah.
Than he did. Because I don't get me wrong, I liked Ethan in 7. I thought he got a bad rap, but there were moments where I felt like he should definitely say something after he's just slammed an axe into his wife's chest.
Yeah.
Like, even if he's like, what, like, just
consider this a divorce.
Even it's like, you know, he does it, and then, you know, because obviously the adrenaline settles, and then he realizes, I've just killed, and then it had that dawns on him what's just happened, you know, and then Jack Baker knocks him out, blah blah blah. But because there were plenty moments, but
Jack Baker knocks him out.
Yeah, we'll get to that, because I have serious problems with that. That's not what you planned, Capcom. But yeah, he's far more emotive in this one, and I kind of like. He's kind of dorky, where there's some moments where felt intentional, where he has a one-liner, and it seemed like it was intentionally terrible because he's just average Joe. It's like, yeah,
He's like playing at being
fuck
Arnold
you.
Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, like, yeah, you fucking dead. Ugh. Like he's supposed to have a big one-liner, and it's terrible, and I loved it. It's like, you're a dork, Ethan.
I
I
think
love you.
his first interaction with Moreau is really funny. Because like he takes the flask and Moreau's like, no, don't, they'll laugh at me, and he's like, yeah, and it's like, that's your daughter, you dick. Do you forget what you were here to do? It's like, you're gonna crack wise against a fish, man.
Right. He's like, he's holding a piece of his baby daughter and using it to taunt a fucking ugly fish man.
Like, damn it, Ethan, you're making me feel bad for the guy.
Yeah.
Make fun of me. It's like,
I love Moreau though. Like I don't love the fight, but I like the way, I just like his character, I guess. And the best part was when you're traversing over the waterlogged houses and just trying to get to the other side while he's, being a big fish and all that kind of stuff. And he says, "Oh, I'm the best," and I'm just like, "Aw."
Well, doesn't he say,
"You're the best. You are."
Does he say he's like polite to you sometimes as well as he's like swimming past, isn't he? Yeah. He says, like, I can't remember the lines, but he says some really bizarre things.
Yeah.
Like, are you trying to kill me? Like, out of all of them, he's the one who seemed not innocent, but the most like, because he wasn't even in control of his own ability, really.
Maybe victimized or something.
Yeah,
Like he was the one. He just wanted someone to care about him, and it just. The only way he could do it is with Mother Miranda liking him. So he was just like, I will do what she says. I don't care what anyone says. The only thing that makes him actually like a villain is that one file where it dictates where he was doing Kato experiments on people. And then you're like, okay, yeah, he's got to go. I mean, he's kind of fun and funny, but he's going to ruin the party if we leave him alive. So we're going to have to shoot him in the face a bunch of times.
Yeah. And it's good that there's...
All right, he'll be back.
He'll be back. There we go. But I like that there was a character like that. That you should you don't feel bad for him. You kind of pity him because he's absolutely been like used and manipulated by this ancient. Miranda is an ancient evil, an evil older than Oswald E. Spencer.
I was thinking about it. I was just thinking about it there now. Like, I'm pretty sure maybe not with Don and Beneviento, but with the other three people, you do definitely find documents that they've written. And I liked Moreau's the most because you felt his character in those notes. The other ones, not so much. But like, you really felt Moreau when you read his files, and his files was my favorite file in the game, was where it's like, I made a thing, now I have to feed it.
Yeah, I saw that in my second run through. It was like, wow, yeah. He's like, man, I shouldn't have done that. I have to keep it alive.
Yeah, it killed my assistant.
Well, when I had to stop doing the voice because his documents started to get longer and longer. But when the first one or two I read, I did like the Gumby voice from Monty Python. Like, hello, did a thing, build. Oh, now I must feed. Hello, my brain hurts. I believe in world peace and bashing two bricks together.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. It's like, wow, this fits really well. But then documents were like 3 pages long. Like, no, I'm not fucking doing that.
Yeah.
My own sanity. But yeah, I liked 3 out of the 4 lords.
Well, should we return to the start of the game and kind of try and go through the events in order and give our thoughts on it?
Yeah.
Fine, do it.
Okay, so intro. So the introduction section of the game actually, let me put in the title. So, I do like the introduction section. I like the context that's given to it once you play through a second time as well, given the events of the story. I also like that you can kick a ball into a room and get a trophy for it.
I know I need to do that. I didn't do it. Sad.
I don't need to do it.
And I call myself.
I release myself from any trophies I don't want to fucking do. I'm not going to do it.
I do like
no obligation.
Well, The thing I like about the introduction the most, actually, is that when we're first starting the game, we don't know what has happened between Resident Evil 7 and Resident Evil 8, other than the fact that Mia and Ethan have had a child and they've seemingly moved somewhere else. That's all we really knew. So it's really nice the first time you sense that there's this real tension between Mia and Ethan. And it's not just the fact that, spoilers, later on we find out that it's someone impersonating Mia. It's also in, the diary that Ethan keeps on his laptop, the cutscene after the intro where it's definitely real Mia saying, we need to talk about it, or we don't, all that kind of stuff. You sense that there's this real tension in their relationship, and I like that because, no one gets out of Resident Evil 7 without, lasting psychological damage.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, so much mold. You'd never be able to look at black mold the same again.
He had a mister everywhere in his house. Why did he bring that? And he even goes, why do I keep this thing around? It's because fan service.
Yeah.
It was in the last one. Don't even get me started on Dolby beer, by the way. There are several bottles of Dolby beer, both in their house and in the village. And me and my brother came up with a in-universe way that it could be there, but it's all just fan canon to try and explain why this specific type of American beer is in Eastern Europe.
Well, could it also just be that Capcom is reusing an asset and they don't think too much about it?
That's absolutely.
It could have just been that they just put it in there because they had a beer bottle in their files of beer bottles, and they're not going to worry about it because why would they put in the extra effort of relabeling a beer bottle to be appropriate to the location when it really won't matter to their sales in any way, shape, or form?
I think they should answer the question. I think
I put to you, Axton Holmes, that that's not fun or interesting.
Okay, if it's fun or interesting, fine. I just don't want
totally
to
the reason why it's there. Absolutely,
okay.
I completely agree with you.
I just don't want it to get serious where it's Capcom doesn't know what they're doing. We caught them in a movie mistake, and I'm like, no, it's just fine. It's fine. Things. Yeah, exactly. Bing! There's a mistake. There's a mistake. There's a mistake. And I think, honestly, just real quick, CinemaSins may have done society a disservice with those videos because people are like, I'm just like CinemaSins now. Mm-hmm. I found another mistake. Yeah.
The film's rubbish now because someone, their side parting was slightly off.
The CinemaSins thing should ping as soon as you go on YouTube because you've already made a mistake by going to the channel. Well, I did take great pleasure in Red Letter Media taking the piss out of them once, which was quite fun. It was their Quiet Place. It was when they reviewed A Quiet Place. Yeah. Piss out of
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to derail you, Garlips. I was genuinely worried that you were pointing at Dolby Beer like this thing is bad and wrong, and I'm like, no, come on now. There are other things to point at, not the beer.
All it indicates is Capcom's laziness, which I totally get. It would have taken an intern 10 minutes to make a different texture for the fucking beer bottle, okay? You don't even have to replace the bottle part, just the label. But
Comic Sans,
anything. Just take the label off entirely. No labels. It's all just labelless beer. Fuck it all.
Some credit goes to my brother Flagrant Weeaboo for this, but basically, the idea is that the Winters got hooked on Dolby beer while they were having their escapades in Resident Evil 7, so they decided to bring some with them to Eastern Europe. In fact, they imported it, and it became so popular regionally in that specific area because of their importation of the beer that's why it's in the village.
Yes.
Yeah,
I agree entirely. That's why it's there.
Also, before we get right back to the intro, it does do something I absolutely adore in games and film and TV. Whenever they go, they have moved to Europe.
Just all of it.
Europe, Romania. Europe's a big place. It's a big part of the earth.
Yeah.
Are they in the UK? Is it what? Where? Where are they? Oh, Europe. Oh, Eastern Europe. What? You can't do that.
Whole Europe thing anyway, because plot-wise, it absolutely 100% confirmed is because Chris told them to move there. Presumably, Chris told them to move there because of Chris's investigation into Miranda. However, like Miranda is the one who like clearly would want them to move to Europe, especially when she found out about their child. So like,
Yeah,
it just something
dangerous.
about it just doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah, like it makes him look like a bit reckless.
Mm.
It's like you just endangered the life of not only Ethan and Mia and their child, but also like your own men. Like,
I could almost
What?
understand it if Chris then went on to say we knew Miranda was interested in their kid and we needed bait to pull out Miranda. That would like make sense story wise. It would be reckless as fuck, but
you like,
like
wow, piece of shit, yeah.
exactly because later on in the game we discovered that Miranda was involved with the connections. Miranda was involved in the creation of Evelyn, even if it was just in providing samples of the mold. So like,
Yeah.
there's a photo of Mia, Alan, the guy who was with her on the boat, and the staff, including Miranda, in a lab coat, right? So she knows who Mia is, right? And Mia presumably knows who she is if she didn't know she was an eternal being that was fucking up a village somewhere. So like,
yeah, that's accurate.
So I hate the convenience of the fact that they move like 10 miles from this fucking place. Because Chris said to, and not Miranda didn't say to. Because Miranda was like the one who was so interested in their baby.
I like to think Chris is like, so we think you should relocate. Oh, where? We're thinking Europe. Oh, nice. He's like, in the middle of buttfuck nowhere.
Yeah.
Trust me.
I have one question, Chris. Can we still get Dovey beer? Okay, we'll move.
It's like, yeah, there's a brewery. There's this old village and there's an old warehouse that used to be the brewery. That's what it is. That's Heisenberg's lair. It's the brewery for the beer. There you go.
Perfect.
Problem solved.
Oh, so the river in his factory is all beer, like Willy Wonka's chocolate factory? Fucking
yes,
A, man.
What it is.
No wonder Heisenberg's such a cheer fellow. He's always laughing and stuff.
He is a bit like Willy Wonka, so he's dressed quite nicely, and he's
he sang that song Pure Imagination halfway through.
Yeah.
Start screaming on the boat.
He drifted downstairs that he creates along the way. I mean, yeah. Heisenberg is Willy Wonka, confirmed.
Remake
Not
of
a
Willy
fan
Wonka's
theory.
weird. This is a Roald Dahl adaptation of Resident Evil Strange. But yeah, like that's a story nitpick that I agree with, because it's like, Chris, what the fuck, man? It's like,
let me just since we've been nitpicking like crazy, let me just go ahead and start not nitpicking.
No, that's fine. That's fine. It's because
I enjoyed every bit of the game. I have no nitpicks. I genuinely liked everything I did in the game. I know that there were some people who didn't like the Heisenberg fight, and I'm not talking about present company. I'm talking about people I've read about on the internet. And I know that there are some people who didn't like Chris's inclusion at all, because it's like a Call of Duty game, and it's like, I don't care. Chris has had 8 games to get good. He's good now. That's fine with me. It's fine with me. He knows what he's up to. He can shoot the guns better. He
is, yeah.
I'm saying he shouldn't be codenamed like Wolf. He should be codenamed Silverback. That's my only issue.
Silverback, fine with me.
He's fucking big enough to be one. In the size of that
give him
boy.
an actual like silverback coat too, just like not like from a wolf, but like a coat that looks like that's got silver on the back of it, not like an actual animal harm thing.
We're talking about thirsty people with Dimitrescu. I've seen like lots of thirsty people just taking Chris's like a picture of Chris from Resident Evil 8 and just like adding silver to his beard and going, "Oh, daddy." So like it's both sides. It's not just.
Speaking of
my
have
God.
you seen the terrifying cursed image? It's not of just replacing Chris's head with Rose's character model head. It's they have switched them around so that when Ethan is putting young Rosemary into bed, it's actually adult Chris's face, complete with a beard.
Yeah, I've seen that.
That's my favorite one.
Like when it's like,
he's beautiful.
So what have we created, Mia? What are we doing? Why is it still
baby.
here?
That's why Chris wants to protect them. It's like, that's my baby. Don't tell Ethan.
Also, while we're asking the potentially like not safe for work questions, how many times do you think Ethan and Miranda fucked?
An average amount for a married couple. I mean, why are we even asking this question?
Is it twice?
Twice. I mean, I can't imagine that it was easy to make a baby with their 2 very unique physiologies. So more than once. How about that?
No, no,
A
no.
number
I mean,
greater than 1.
obviously, Mia and Ethan did to make the baby, but like, Miranda potentially has been impersonating Mia for at least a week.
I missed the Miranda part. I think.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Was it better? That's the real question.
It is.
I hadn't even thought of that.
Ethan and Miranda. Yeah, you're right. Because I don't know how long Miranda was there, and maybe she was a stone slate. I don't know, or maybe she was just very warm and like it's been a while. Let's go. I don't know.
I've heard some people who have been like, "Oh, Mia gets replaced when you go upstairs to put the baby to bed," and I'm like, I just don't like that at all.
No.
Yeah,
she
no,
had
that's
to have been there
ridiculous.
at least a couple days.
She's been there a
Right.
while. I
Yeah.
reckon she's been there a while. Because,
Yeah, I mean, she's very comfortable in that house.
Yeah, because she's way too thorny towards him before you go upstairs.
Right.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
like she's so adamant about reading the child the books. Like, gee, I wonder why. And like, because I don't know about you, but I like to fuck around in this games, even though I missed the thing with the ball. So I immediately, she was like, "I'm going to do dinner. Why don't you go upstairs?" So I was like, "Okay, I'm going to approach her." She's like, "Don't approach me when I'm cooking."
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
There are way too many flags for the second time through to show you that it's clearly Miranda who's in there at that point.
Yeah, I think because Katie was in the room, so I was like, "That's not just me. That was a threat, right?" She didn't say that in a nice way. Like, "Don't bother me when I'm cooking." It was, "Don't bother me when I'm cooking." No, don't come near me when I'm cooking.
Yeah. Like, don't even fucking approach me. It's like, didn't I marry you? What happened?
Damn.
It's like at the altar when you get married, you have to hold each other and kiss in front of all the witnesses and proclaim your love. And this is the comfort of our own home. And now you're being hostile to me? What happened here?
It makes so much sense on the second playthrough, which is good.
Yeah.
And that's
was
good because
great. Yeah.
Yeah, I love stuff like that in games, film, and TV, any kind of media, where playing, watching, experiencing it again a second time is also good because you benefit from already knowing things, so you can start to look out for little. So there's that right off the bat is, oh well, that's
I love
a red flag.
Recontextualization like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, another thing, like I felt I was really assured in certain plot elements until I went to the internet and found the raving chaotic mob of people who like just don't understand anything, even like when it's spelled out to them. So like, and that sounds really snobbish. I don't mean it to.
No,
but,
no,
like,
you're fine. No, they exist. It's fine.
It's like
the game basically explains everything
when
at one point.
Miranda,
There's that moment.
At the end, when she's doing the whole evil monologue explaining things, she appears as Mia, then she disappears, then she appears as the old lady. And so I was like, oh, okay, so the old lady was always Miranda as well, right? And then I went on the internet and people are like, oh my god, she killed the old lady and appeared as her as well. And I'm like, what?
No.
Where did you get that from?
Okay,
the old lady exists in the village because it was Miranda the whole time, so she wasn't under any threat whatsoever.
Exactly.
Yeah, she's kind of like pushing you.
The clues are there as well, by the way, because when you come out of the is it Louisa's house?
Louisa,
you can hear someone firing shots and they get killed by Miranda
in
the grass. And then you go down the hill and the old lady is right next to the church. So the clue is like right there. Yeah. And so that's the whole recontextualization thing. You're like, oh my god, it was really her. And she's not run anywhere. She just changed. And like, I love stuff like that.
Exactly. That stuff that's fucking great. But again, like the hag is another character actually that because when she appeared as, I was like, oh, the hag, yeah, like she just wasn't in the game anymore.
After a while,
I was like, that was weird. But yeah, I don't know how people. I'm always confused by like the games. Like, I mean, let's not be honest. Like, there's some cool twists and turns in this, and the story, despite the little nitpicks that I have in that, it's still very competently and well told.
Yeah.
And there's even a big, like, not a bug. No, there is a Bagul moment. Really, it's like this is right. This is what's happening. Okay, because you have this is what's happening in documents that you read. And then the cutscene goes, this is what's happening. And then another cutscene straight up goes, this is the thing. This is what's going on, right? And then the characters react to the thing that's going on, go, oh, well, this is what's going on. Gotcha, great. I know everything that's happening now. I don't know how you can watch that and go, oh, so she must have, damn it, she must have killed Hag. Like, did you not listen to the part where it was explained that she can change into anyone?
I liked that you found that out in a missable note before you're actually told by the plot. So Heisenberg has left a diary, and he, you can find it before you face off against him in the fight. But if you miss it, it doesn't matter because the game still tells you that I
Yeah.
think the Chris cutscene says something like she's capable of appearing as someone else. But before that, I noticed that Heisenberg's diary says something about mimicry. She can like appear as someone else, and so I was like, oh my god, she was Mia. Like I managed to put that together. But like I like that it was you could miss that, and it would still kind of like, and it didn't feel like it was telling me something I didn't already know when Chris revealed it. It was more just kind of like, oh, you were smart enough to read the diary and work it out.
Yeah. What's good about that as well is that because you could read that and then suddenly you could think, well, if she can appear as anyone, was that even Chris? Was that even Mia? Was that even this? Like it could have been. That's why Chris was evil. Seemed evil, which was purely for the trailers.
Yeah,
it's
it
like
was.
maybe
They
maybe
really
that's
didn't
why.
put
Like
their heart into that, but I will get onto that later, making him evil.
Yeah, but that's what's cool about finding that is because that's kind of like it's rewarding you for exploration because then you get this little added little moment to start doubting yourself and what you've seen. But then obviously you meet Chris and he says, "Well, this is what's going on," which is and that's fine. But yeah, having that's what I love about games like Resident Evil. Games in general have to have more not audio logs, more diaries. I love reading that shit. Good world building. I don't want to have to because I know when I do it with audio logs, it's because you can still play the game and listen. It's like no, I can't.
Nope, me neither. I'm standing straight still listening to that audio log. I'm not going anywhere. I'm just like, nope, gonna listen to all this, get all that information.
Otherwise, you go, and then it's like I was going to the shots. You're like, play the audio log.
This is really funny because before we started recording today, me and Axel, when we first hopped into the channel and started talking, we had a whole talk about this, and I said, "Oh my god, I love audio logs because you can hear the story and carry on moving. I'm not going to stop and read a book."
I can't wait to stop and read a book. I cannot wait.
Yeah, I find it as well.
With games like this, I get terrified. I am very sensitive to horror sounds, settings, setups. I don't know what it is, but like as soon as I'm like, oh, Resident Evil Village, click start game. I'm already ready to get scared. Like I was waiting for Mia to bite my head off in the intro. I didn't know what was going to happen next. I'm holding the baby. Something bad's going to happen. Certainly not the trailer we've already seen, But then that's what happened. The trailer we've already seen. Chris kicks in the door, shoots me in the face a bunch of times. So it's like, oh, okay, never mind. I'm fine. But then you go to the next part where you're out of the car and you're walking through the cold and the woods and all that stuff. And the only thing that kept me comfort, I'm not armed. They can't expect me to fight because I'm not armed. So nothing will kill me. It's okay. But only because I know video games. That's the only reason I'm comfortable. So when it comes to reading text-based dialogues or whatever, I'm like, great. I know I can't be killed while I'm reading this interesting text. So I'm just going to read as much of it as possible and take my time. Because, like... Hold on a second. I'm reading exactly. Like when I was playing Doom 3, they did the audio log thing, and no, Doom 3 is a terrifying game. I am not about to be like listening to someone's life story while I'm like, fuck. I just can't do it. It's cool that you can though, Garlips. I'm not saying you shouldn't be able to. No problems there. Congratulations. I just can't do it.
Does never not have a podcast or an audiobook playing in my ear while I do my entire life. Like I guess I'm just a bit more used to it.
No, I totally do that as well. But I think in terms of like horror games, I prefer written documents. I find them I think they're a bit more unsettling or creepier when you're reading about something that's happened.
Don't get me wrong, I don't mind a written document, but my issue was I'm not going to look back through an entire book of Ethan's thoughts as they're written down. Like I hate the idea of I've updated the journal, go and read the fucking journal. That's my issue. I didn't know
there was a journal. Yeah. I wish I'd known. I would have fucking read it at the end of the game or something. I'd have gone through every page. I'm like, oh, cool.
Like there's little sketches as well. Like, oh.
When I started the game, I was like, oh, cool. They completely like canonized and like put into words the entire Baker incident, and it's called like the Baker Report. I was like, I'll totally go back and read that. I have not fucking read it. And we're doing a podcast, and it would have probably helped to go back and read it. I'm not going to go back and read it.
What you're saying though is if somebody else went back and read it to you, you'd be okay.
What I'm
with
saying
that.
is that yes, I would spend an Audible credit on the audiobook version, read by Mia, of course. There's nothing wrong with my memory.
But I mean, I'm just thinking actually as well, like about the intro. Obviously, Chris just shooting the shit out of Mia, and then obviously we get the reveal later. I just realized something. He's a bit of a pillock, really, isn't he? It's like, well, you know what? I put like 5 bullets into her head, and I thought that'd kill her. I'm like, Chris.
Basically, the entire
Let's bring a
events of
fucking
Resident
rocket
Evil-
launcher next time. You know what it takes to kill one of these things.
Come on, Chris. You've been doing this for how long now?
The entire events of
The
Resident
what?
Evil 8 are Chris's fault. In
Yeah,
a way,
he is.
Chris is the antagonist, but not the way that Capcom wanted you to believe he is.
Yeah, an unintentional antagonist.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like he's like, well, you know, I thought that did it. I'm like, we told you what happened. Like, I had to like put so many bullets into Jack just to make him blow up twice, and he came back after the first time, and you just think pistol rounds are gonna do it.
And
She's like an Highlander.
That's just the first thing on his list that he did wrong. Because I mean, aside from not dealing with Miranda properly, Ethan is very easy to get on side if you just give him some information. And there's that bit later on in the game when you're playing as Chris where like his team, I don't know which teammate TM copyright named character it was, but like he's going, you really should have told him, Chris. And Chris is like, there was no time. And then he's like, but you really should have told him. And Chris is like, yeah, I know.
I know. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Can I go punch werewolves?
Yeah.
Tony
Oh,
from
the alpha though.
So,
Oh,
like,
Alpha with. Don't worry. Oh, thank you.
I'm okay with that though. I'm glad they actually touched back on it. I didn't expect them to even remark on how badly Chris handled that situation. I expected it just to be like, well, that's Chris, you know, like that's our Chris.
Yeah, I was glad that they showed that he's clearly, even when he's just like sat in the Jeep, you know, he's not feeling good about the whole thing. Which is good. If he was just like, yeah, well, I had a job to do, and now I'm Solid Snake, you know, you'd be like, you're not Chris anymore. And the fact that he was clearly hurt by it, which is good, and because it instantly like, yeah, I'm back on side with you. You fucked this up completely, but you're still Chris. It's fine. Don't worry.
Yeah.
You go.
And like, I think that's the issue in my mind is it's hard to consolidate. As Axe was saying, like you've got 8 games to get Chris to the point where he is the badass and he's dealt with this shit before and he's past it, but at the same time makes like the very bad mistake of just like not talking to people about things.
Like Jill would kick the shit out of him for that. Actually, where is Jill? But because the thing is, like, I mean, I thought the reveal that Mia wasn't Mia was great, but like, okay, when because everyone saw the trailer, oh my god, he shoots Mia, what the hell? I'm like, oh, that's a shame. He shot the bioterrorist.
Oh, you're one of those people.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm the Mia did nothing wrong. I'm like,
Matthew will remember this.
Yeah, right.
I mean, the only thing Mia did wrong in my mind is that she should have told Ethan that she worked for a bio company, like a terrorism company. But like,
Ethan, remember the whole umbrella thing?
Her job was containment, and she was trying to contain it. I mean, the only reason she called Ethan in the first place to the place is because Evelyn essentially controlled her and made her do it.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, I agree that yes, containment. But it's like, what was it they were going to do with Evelyn in the first one? Where were they? I can't remember where they were taking her.
I think they were just moving her from one lab to another lab or something.
Yeah, that's how it was supposed to go.
But yeah, basically I'm on the boat that Mia's not innocent. I mean, she should be grateful she's not in a jail cell.
She's not Eileen innocent.
Well,
she had agents
through a lot of shit as well. To be fair,
yeah, she just kind of get locked in the jail cell. But yeah, I think the intro is great though. That it's I mean, it's the problem is that I just wish they hadn't shown anything in the fucking launch trailer about that.
Yes,
because
it's a shock.
It's a great intro. Like it's so good because you know something's going to kick off because you're playing as Ethan again. You're going to do stuff with Ethan, but it would have been great going in not knowing how it's going to kick off. You just know he goes to this village. You know he's doing something. Like it was very small. Like, I either forgot that they mentioned it in the trailers and stuff that you were looking for Rosemary. I either forgot that or they just didn't really make a big thing about it. So it wasn't until I got the box and looked on the back, it's like, oh yeah, he's got a kid now, isn't he? And that's great. Because the intro is really fucking cool. You get to go around the house, and then it all kicks off. When it all kicks off, it's very exciting. It's very shocking. Way more shocking if we didn't know. And I love the whole lead up to the first time you get a firearm as well. Like waking up in the crashed transport vehicle, and answering the guy's phone. That really angry guy on the other end, like, just not supposed to be on this line.
Yeah.
Would you like to know how it went? They're dead. They're all dead.
Yeah.
And that whole trek to the village is so wonderfully crafted and so wonderfully done. That it's so dark. You can't see fucking anything, but you can hear everything.
Yeah, you can hear a lot of shit.
Yeah, and playing that segment with a good set of headphones is essential. Or if you've got like surround sound, because all the sound, like the trees moving, the branches, you can hear things running around somewhere.
And then that jump scare with the crow hanging from the tree branch and start
cool.
moving and shit.
That was cool, yeah. But that whole segment's great.
There's one more thing I want to touch on before we leave the intro of the game.
And
it goes back to what you were talking about, Matt, with the pre-release material for the game. I think in some ways that Capcom should be commended because they didn't show anything really substantial. I mean, there were a couple of shots from cutscenes, but yeah, nothing past the Castle Dimitrescu section of the game, which in some ways is laudable and commendable. But I agree, they also showed us way too much. They showed us that scene with Chris, which, like, no one's going to buy that he's the villain, okay? So just don't try. But the other thing that really annoyed me as well, and why I wish I'd not watched any pre-game material whatsoever, is because there was this thing where, like, they said, the makers of the game said, oh, the symbol of the game is this symbol, and they showed the kind of what we know is the Mega Mice seed or whatever it is in that bed of feathers, right? With the nest.
The mushroom creeper. Yeah.
And so, like, they were like, this symbol means something to the game's plot, but we're not going to tell you what it is. And it's like, I wonder what the giant fetus has to do with Ethan's daughter. I wonder how these two things could be connected.
Right. Oh, I wish they wouldn't do that. And I didn't see. I must have missed that. I'm glad I fucking missed that. Like, stop it.
It was in the first showcase, and I didn't watch the second showcase on purpose because the first showcase I felt like they told me too much already.
But what you said about how little they showed for the rest of the game, like, yeah, that was fucking awesome, because going in, I think a lot of people, partially at times myself included, thought that Lady Dimitrescu was the main antagonist. It's like, oh, she's the big bad, and then that moment happens, and you wake up and it's like, oh shit, there's loads of them. Oh, she's just. Oh, it's you! It's like, it's you, winged lady in the distance.
I love that introduction. We pretty much made it up to that scene anyway. But yeah, I love that introduction scene with all the characters, because you get so much information from that. And you do get a sense of, like, it's going to be these 4 houses. That's going to make up the section of the game. And suddenly you do realise, oh, wait, that means... Like, especially when you get to Castle Dimitrescu, you're like, oh, this is just the first place. I think a lot of people were upset, though, because they expected it to be the whole game.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, she's like big vampire lady's not enough. Like, there is no one to blame here but yourselves.
Yeah.
So many people like built this character up in their heads, like, oh, it's like, it's your fault.
Yeah, that's what I was telling a lot of people when they were like, talking about how Dimitrescu was like not there long enough, and that Capcom like sold her as the big bad and created a situation where the media hyped her up so much. It's really Capcom's fault. It's like, nope, Capcom didn't do shit. Capcom put out, this is the first boss, that's fine. That's not even a spoiler.
Yeah.
And it's an impressive first boss. It's pretty cool. It's not even the final boss form, so there's still plenty after that. It's social media and horny people grabbed that and ran it all the way down. Just kept going. It's just like, yeah, 9 foot tall Grammy, who I'd like to fuck. Yes, woohoo, woo, and daughters. Who cares? The 9 foot tall lady though. Like, there's pictures of like. I mean, because I follow Twitter pretty closely nowadays because I'm always on Twitter, and people retweet shit all the time, and it finds its way into my feed. Where there's one where it's like Ethan's like smashed against the wall by Dimitrescu's chest, just like that, and it's like that wouldn't even be pleasant. You would suffocate and die. Maybe it's the best way to suffocate and die, but suffocating is painful. Dying is no fun. You don't get to do that again after you're dead. So why are you fantasizing about this weird shit? Stop it. Fucking stop it.
I know. I learned the internet a long time ago. I learned the internet is a place full of people who have wide interests and hobbies.
And there's things that, and there's a good moment actually where because Kitty was really excited because she likes vampires and stuff, and she was really interested because the characters like design is really fucking cool.
Yeah.
And there's that great moment when we're jumping ahead a little bit, but we'll
go
back,
matter.
and
it's
when they've kind of hooked, not even chained, they've hooked this poor bastard up.
Yeah.
And she has a great line where she just leans in and says, "Be careful what you wish for." And Kitty looked at me and it's like, that was directly to the fans, wasn't it? It's like, yes,
probably. Yeah,
I think it was. But yeah, I thought her characterization was really good. I thought the voice was perfect. Like it was very regal and commanding, and I mean, all the voices were great, except Heisenberg. But we'll get to Heisenberg.
This is going to be an area of contention because I think me and X are going to disagree with you there.
I like Heisenberg a lot.
I don't like his the vocal performance. I don't like the performance.
I like that too.
Because the guy has done good work. In fact, he was
Asterion in Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah, he was really good in Resident Evil 3 as well. He was Nikolai. He was great in that.
Yeah.
I don't know what was he. He was like he was trying to. It was like he was doing an impression of Dr. Logan from Day of the Dead. It was weird.
The other thing I was talking about is like kind of like a bad 90s Nick Cage.
I mean, continue. I have a scared puppy. Come on, scared puppy. Want to say hi, scared puppy? Or do you want to come here?
But yeah, there's one thing I really like about the design of.
Oh, scared puppy!
I have to wait for him to return.
Oh.
Scared puppy time.
It's the pupper section.
Pupper section.
Sorry, scared puppy time.
Oh.
There was one thing like. There's this. I like small details as I've wanked on about previous in podcasts, but there's one slight thing I really like about Lady Dimitrescu's design is that she looks very regal and wealthy and rich, but it's not until you when you look at the character model in particular, and you zoom in on you look at her complexion, she does not look well. She looks sickly, and almost like almost decaying. And then when you look at her dress, it's actually quite dirty. It's not clean. It's yellowed. And I love that because it's supposed to. It's obviously symbolic. That yes, she may appear this, but underneath she is rotten to the core.
One thing I can absolutely appreciate about Capcom in these last two games is they've gone like they've had a batshit idea. Like, we're gonna make a ghost girl, or we're gonna make a vampire lady, and like some smart bastard in the back has gone like, here's a slightly bullshit pseudoscience reason why it works for the virus / gene aspect of Resident Evil. Like, she's a vampire because she needs the rejuvenation of blood cells because she doesn't make them, so that's why she needs to drink blood. So now she's a vampire. And it's like, because that bastard needs a raise. He's brilliant.
It's like, it's like, well, because you go, what? There's gonna be vampires in Resident Evil. It's like, that seems a bit odd, doesn't it? How are they going to explain this? And it's this like, all you have to, it's a document I think you can miss as well. It's like, she had a blood deficiency.
All
You've
right.
just explained it. Great.
Which
Thank
also
you.
fits perfectly in that whole idea of regal, because like quite often, like hereditary blood diseases are synonymous in my head with Queen Victoria and her children, because it was a major issue because they were all inbreeding. So like it just adds to the whole idea of in a castle, like, you know, regal. It was perfect.
Yeah, it's I love it when they manage to just do it. It's just a little not throwaway document, but a document you can completely miss that gives you that little tiny explanation, and everything just falls lovingly into place. It's like Evelyn. She wasn't a ghost child. It's because she'd already infected you and she was appearing in front of you because it's like a hive mind thing. You're like, that's awesome. You haven't just brought supernatural stuff into this. It's great.
I mean, like it does get a bit like I sometimes it does get a bit silly. Like I mean, yeah, of course it does, but like silly
Magneto
on silly. Yeah, because like Miranda is like, oh, the Megamycete is like a hard drive of people, and like my daughter is in that hard drive, so I can just like spawn her into like a new body, kind of thing. It's like
what?
I'm not quite sure that's how it works, but at the same time, yeah, you let it go because it's Resident Evil.
Yeah, you let it go. It's Resident Evil, and you're trying to have fun. Let them have fun. It's okay. It's okay.
But
you know,
because there is like a thing with fungi. Kitty was saying that is kind of like that, where it's all kind of like a stored knowledge. It's because obviously plants and stuff, but which I do like. I think that's cool. They gave an explanation, but it was a bit like, oh yeah, it's like a computer bank, and my daughter's in this. I'm like, sure. It's like, are you sure? Have you just gone mad?
I wanted to say something about this too. I think it's a perfect time to bring it in. We're going to go to Beneviento a little bit because Beneviento was like really, really terrifying, and there was a lot of things where it's like, how is any of this possible? And of course, there is a document you can read where certain yellow flowers, the pollen can give you like a hallucinogenic effect, and the puppeteer Beneviento, Donna Beneviento, uses this hallucination to create, or using puppets. Hi, Pupper. Using puppets to create these hallucinations, like gives you something to see to trick your mind into thinking that you're seeing the supernatural. Like she had a Mia puppet, so you would see Mia because you're hallucinating, but also there's something that looks close enough to Mia to give you that hallucination. And the point that I wanted to bring up is something that my wife Anne mentioned, where this is the difference between Silent Hill and Resident Evil. Resident Evil gives you something plausible, a scientific reason why it would happen here and not everywhere else, not under every other circumstance, where Silent Hill is just like, you're going to deal with this because it's fucking crazy nightmare weird shit, and that's how we do this kind of stuff.
It's like, too bad.
Yeah, exactly, which is why I have a major gripe about people saying that the Beneviento section was more Silent Hill than anything that we've had in a long time, when it's like, no, it's actually not quite, because Silent Hill wouldn't have an explanation. It wouldn't be anything there. It would just, you would literally see supernatural shit, and it would literally kill you in the supernatural way. It wouldn't trick your brain into thinking that you're being attacked by Angie or a giant fucking baby fetus that terrifies me to this day. And you wouldn't have a trick. It would be a genuine thing killing you in some otherworld dimension shit. And I mean, I guess the layout was very PT, but PT wasn't very Silent Hill either. That's the other thing I like to bring up.
We've talked about this before, Axe, that like the reason why people are saying Silent Hill in conjunction with House Beneviento is because they're using Silent Hill as shorthand for PT. Because there is a generation of people now that like associate Silent Hill with PT. Because, Kojima was going to make the best Silent Hill ever. And like, I would have turned up day one for the Kojima Silent Hill. I would have been there and I would have been into it. But don't tell me it was going to be Silent Hill, because it wasn't. It was going to be Kojima's horror game that just so happened to borrow little bits and pieces of Silent Hill to make it. Like, because he worked for Konami and it was a Silent Hill property.
Well, because also I think I don't think he's ever. I don't know if he was interviewed or it was Guillermo del Toro was interviewed. I'm pretty sure I read it somewhere that apparently the game wasn't gonna be like PT. That was just the introduction. That was the playable teaser.
Yeah, of course.
It probably wasn't gonna be. It probably was gonna be like an actual full experience. kind of like Resident Evil 7 or something with like an area to explore and whatnot. It wouldn't have just been like Visage, which is. or Layers of Fear, which is also overrated. It wouldn't have just been that kind of gameplay. I think that was just they used to play teasers. So, but yeah, I know what you mean, and because the problem is that obviously, unfortunately, PT is the last, most recent or last Silent Hill related thing we've had in terms of games, which is so depressing when you consider it's 7 years old now. I think
something like that.
Yeah,
old. It's old now.
Yep.
I mean, the thing to say is that like PT is very good. Like I think PT is great, and lots of people have copied PT because of that, because it was great.
Yeah.
I think a space exists for us even to say I really enjoyed the bit in House Beneviento because it was PT-ish and it was different.
Yeah.
But like just get that Silent Hill name just out of there.
Yeah,
That's
it's the
fine,
wrong brand. It's not what Silent Hill was.
I would say I would not argue against that, but I would say for some people I know that have said something similar, well, I think they're coming from where I'm kind of coming from in that it is more PT than Silent Hill. I think it's more the puzzle aspect was very Silent Hill. In the sense of, it's like a weird, creepy doll thing. You have to do like this weird.
Yeah, I'll give you that for sure.
Yeah,
hands
so
down.
that stuff. But the gameplay, the actual moving around.
Do you know what it felt like to me? It felt like an escape room, and I loved that, and that was great.
So cool. I loved House Beneviento.
Yeah, because I went in there with all my guns, and Angie's got the little flasks. So you're like, okay, it's clearly not going to be as easy to take the flask and go. There's a save point in there, so you're like, okay, I'm going to save. All right, fine, I'll pick up the flask, and then like all of your stuff's taken away from you, and I really liked that, especially when you work out that this is what is going to be the whole section is going to be just like puzzles.
So great, because that's the good thing is that because you get in there, you're like, yeah. Hello.
It's quiet. There's nothing going. Empty cupboards and not much else.
Yeah. Haha. Reveal your secrets. Oh.
Yeah, you definitely go in loaded for bear after Dimitrescu. Like you have your new guns, you've been fighting things for a while, you're bloodied, you're ready to go, and then you get your shit taken away from you, and it's like, oh god, all I have is hope, I guess. I'm a Pandora's box over here.
And it's great, and that's one thing that I think absolutely works in the game's advantages is how each area is a difference. It's not only just visually different, it is different gameplay wise as well. I think Castle Dimitrescu and Heisenberg's factory similar because they're big areas to explore with kids, but they are also different in the way you maneuver around and explore. But I think the change of pace from Castle Dimitrescu, which is like kind of classic Resident Evil spooky house horror, like Resident Evil 1 or Resident Evil 7, it's like a manor or something you're exploring. Castle Dimitrescu is like more traditional Resident Evil in that sense, and then you get to House Beneviento and it's completely different. And like you're saying, just by taking the guns away, you feel so vulnerable. The second he collapses and wakes up, and I think he even says, "All my stuff's gone." Shit. And then I was exploring one of the rooms, and Brett was in the room, and like, oh, there's a locker I can open. Or maybe there's an item. Opened it. There's nothing in there. And it dawned on me. And I stepped inside. I wonder if I can step inside. I can step inside. Can I Oh. I looked and was like, I can close it.
It's discovery. And I didn't know actually, because it's so much fun to watch other people play the same section to see how people react differently. I mean, that's I loved doing that with Resident Evil 8. And I was watching my brother play, and he didn't get into a cupboard once. It just did but he worked out that you can hide under the bed, and I didn't know you could hide under the bed at all.
Did you not?
No.
Oh, that's how I what? Because that's how I gave it the runaround in the bedroom.
Oh, if you just go into a cupboard, it will just fuck off. It will come into the room, it'll walk around a bit, and then just fuck off. So.
Oh yeah, but there's that bit at the very end when you get the fuse and you're like downstairs, and then it knocks the bookcase over and it comes through the kitchen. Yeah, I hid under the bed, and I hid under the bed so that I was facing the door. Waited until it left, went around the side of the bed, had to crawl out of the bed and then just run.
That's
That was the
definitely the
most like
fastest way
frightening
to
things
do
I've
it.
ever done because I don't know if it's looking at me, but I'm crawling out and I'm going, just running,
Yeah.
and then you can hear it laughing and calling you Dada.
Dada.
And it's even just the tiny
Pretty cool.
touch of the fact that when you then run through those sections, there's now blood on the floor.
Yeah,
Like
great.
They could
Small
easily just
details.
not do that, but that little touch just adds to it, the atmosphere of it.
They did actually. What does it remind me of? It reminds me actually of a creature from the Splatterhouse series. I'm a big fan of Splatterhouse games. They're wonderfully violent games, especially for the 16-bit era. Playing that as a kid was awesome because there's blood and guts and it's disgusting. But
Was there one on the
obviously
360
the
as
chat
well?
won't be able to see it. But I will post it in.
That might have been
Actually,
the
I'll just
last
send it to
one,
you too.
actually. I definitely think there was one on the 360 generation.
There you go. It kind of reminded me of one of the creatures I just sent you on Facebook. But yeah, I loved the baby was terrifying. I never thought the sound of a kid laughing and saying "dada" would be so frightening.
Well,
I didn't get killed by it. I didn't get killed by it, but I have heard what happens when you do get killed. It just
Oh, wow.
giggles
Yeah.
and swallows you.
That is very similar. Hang on, I'm just gonna... Oh,
I
we
know, right?
can't.
I actually,
I don't know.
I didn't get killed by it
the
either,
chat.
thankfully, because that would have quit. I would have quit that night. I'm like, I'm not playing this game anymore. But I loved the sound, but it sounded like it was coming out of an intercom. You know, like it had
Yeah.
that ratchy, that scratchy radio sound to it. It was like da or whatever. So you could kind of get the illusion is the baby is the illusion, but the audio is provided through the sound system in the house to create that terror, which was just so cool. You knew it
Makes
wasn't real, but you knew Ethan thought it was real, and it's blood all over the place. And holy shit, I thought I'd be chased by the puppet. I was thinking, okay, I'm just gonna have to hide in here from the puppet. I've played Dead by Daylight. I'm used to hiding in lockers. It's totally fine. I've done this. And then when I saw the bed, I was like, okay, now wait.
It's like, wait.
Either the second time I have to hide, they're gonna open the closet and then find me, and I should have hid under the bed, or like the bed is just going to be the wrong place to hide because it's more visible and I'll get dragged out from under it, especially if it's Angie, a low-hanging puppet or whatever. I had no idea I was going to be chased by a big fucking baby. I had no idea whatsoever. Ooh.
Right. And the build up, it takes its time in that that section as well, which is, and and that's why I think it works. As we're saying, like it is like a theme park because you're like, oh, you've got the haunted house, the big castle, and then you've got the slow haunted house, and then you got the factory, and you've got the village, the fishing village. But I think Beneviento absolutely stands out for me. I think my two favorite areas in the game are the first two. I think they're the strongest areas.
I think so.
Visually,
the strongest.
Visually, there's some good stuff visually in the stronghold. Including a wonderful trophy that I'm assuming you got as well, Tom, when you shoot one of the, the conveyor belts in the distance.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
One of them drops off.
Yeah, that was the first thing that occurred to me was just like, can I shoot those things? Yes, I can.
Like, they thought I'd do something stupid like that. I love these guys.
Yeah.
I love developers that do that because they think, yeah, I'd do that. Yeah, let's make it falls off. It doesn't add anything to the game, but it's fun, and it also makes the environment feel larger as well because you can interact with the distance.
Just before we finish on House Beneviento, though, going back to what Axe was just saying about like thinking that you're going to hide in the wrong place, and it kind of goes back to what you were saying too, Matt, about like it being a theme park, is that the emphasis is just on having a fun experience because it doesn't punish you and go, oh, you fucking jack off, you should have hidden the closet instead of the bed or what. It doesn't matter where you hide so long as you're hiding.
And
you're getting
trap.
the experience, which is really clever.
Yeah, it wasn't like, oh, you didn't know the of course you don't hide in there. Cool, you're an idiot if you didn't know that. Any of these about you can hide in any of these if you want to. It's your game.
And if you then got to reload that scene, you are slightly annoyed, and you're not feeling the horror anymore because the whole sequence has been interrupted.
Exactly. And it makes it more intense as well. It's like because. Yeah, it's not constant. You didn't go left. You went left instead of right. Reload, and it wasn't.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and you know what was great about that as well? No jump scare. The only
I thought there was going to be, and there wasn't, which was good. because I'm not a fan of them.
Yeah, the only thing that was like, it wasn't even a jump scare, but it got all three of us, because Kitty and Brett were in the downstairs living room with me when I was playing it. It was when we're following the umbilical cord and the blood channel. We're like, the fuck, we could hear something. Like, no, because we ran the corner towards where the elevator is, and then you can hear that the music picks up, and you're like, oh, something's happening. The music's just started again, and then you just hear the thud. So I'm like, oh, there's something there, and because again, it's a horror game, so of course the flashlight's useless. Uh, I love video games. Like, why does everyone have a terrible flashlight? It don't work like that. It's like there's something there. Can't make it out. I'm just like, you know what? Fuck it, and I just move forward and seen that thing, and it's not a jump scare. That thing just like emerge out of the darkness. So no.
Oh, I know.
Turn. I didn't know it was a quick turn. It's like turn, run. I did
Yeah.
not. But it's just masterfully done, and and obviously, yeah, it's more PT than Silent Hill, but at this stage, like especially with how like the RE engine looks as well, like I just wish Konami just say, Capcom, we were like the kings of survival horror at one point. Do you want to have a go? Go and have a go, and just give them a go in the RE engine. I'd love to see how a Silent Hill game would look in the RE engine, because the RE engine is fucking gorgeous.
It's really good.
It's so good.
It's really good.
And
Like,
they
it
get
puts
horror.
out RE7 and RE8 and also Devil May Cry 5. Like,
Yeah.
two completely different games. One super high focus on action and numbers,
Yeah.
and the other one like on atmosphere and all that kind of stuff. And it's like it does both of them really well. There isn't a whole lot of reason for them to upgrade this engine anytime soon. They can just pump out games in the RE engine for the next 10 years. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, just keep tweaking it, make it perform better for certain games and that. But yeah, it's just I think there were so many times where it's one of those games where there's like so many moments where you just kind of catch yourself just looking at everything. Oh, did it? I didn't hate Heisenberg's lair, like the factory, but it wasn't my favorite area. But there were moments where you just kind of catch yourself going, "This is fucking. Oh, look how big and vast this is! It feels massive."
Yeah, it really does.
Going up there, I'm not going to go all the way there, but I can see it, and it's not just an animated background; it's a thing and it's not even 2D. That looks great.
Yeah. Speaking of the Duke, though, he sits in that elevator, and it's so awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, but there was one time I was like, "Oh, hello." You're
just like.
It's like I am the Duke. Yes, hello there, evil.
Bring me more meat.
Yeah, I never want to hear that chewing noise again. It makes me angry.
I do want to say, like, Capcom, like, I love you guys, but like, do not give me the ability to sell meat to a guy and then tell me I need to keep the meat for recipes afterwards.
Yeah. No, I nearly did that. It was until I was like, it's in my inventory though. And that's when I looked at it. It's like, oh, you can cook it to the. That's why I actually examined it.
When you first get your piece of meat, I'm pretty sure the game says something along the lines of, "You can bring this to Duke." So I was like, "Okay, cool." So I brought my meat to Duke and I sold it to him, and that's not what you're supposed to do. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
I missed out on like 10 animals as well, so I can get all the upgrades. Do you know if they carry over on New Game Plus?
Yes, they
the
do.
upgrades.
Yeah.
So I can get.
I got 4 out of 6 on my first go, and I would have got 6 out of 6 if I'd not sold my meat. So
yeah, I think I got 4 as well. I didn't get the increased movement speed, which is like I really wanted that one, but yeah, I I love the Duke. He's like
Duke
the
is
most.
great.
He might be one of the silliest characters, not in this series, but for a while, just because of how like comedically, cartoonishly large he is.
Mm-hmm.
He looks like something. He actually looks like the what's he called? It's a character in Mad Max Fury Road. Is he called like the People Eater or something? Like there's a great big fat guy basically.
Yeah.
And he looks he's got like saws, and that's the Duke. But like he's so cartoonish, and then I started to think like with the ending, like, is he real?
yeah, I know what you mean. because like his only interaction really is with Ethan. So
Yeah.
but like the thing I like about him is because they're all like, if you think about it, all of the enemies in this game are pretty cartoonish in their own kind of way. But the difference with Duke is that Duke is so good natured, while everyone else is kind of like slightly pissed at you and or antagonistic. Duke is very kind of like just living his best life in his little cabin thing, and yeah, I mean, I will say the one thing I had like throughout the entire game was that I was like, this guy's going to be secretly evil. This guy's going to be secretly evil. It's going to be revealed that he was secretly evil, and it was nice that that didn't pan out at all. I was happy that he didn't turn out to be secretly evil.
No big reveal, but with what happens, and it's like he's not. If he is real, then he is like a good force or something.
Yeah.
Like he's trying to help somehow. I did the biggest moment for me, like the reason I loved him immediately was when he makes reference to the merchant from Resident Evil 4. What he says, I can't remember exactly the line, but he says one thing like, just as something an old friend used to say. I'm like, he's friends with the merchant. It's like, sounds okay in my books.
I think he might have eaten the merchant. I'm just going to throw that out there.
I can't remember if he says like,
friend.
doesn't he say something like, I've got a selection of, sorry, that's something an old friend used to say.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering, I mean, obviously all the mods are sexual themed at the moment because gamers still have to have that stereotype. But I'm wondering how long until someone just mods the merchant from RE4 in, just like completely replaces the character model. So it's just the merchant just sat there like, welcome,
stranger.
I just want to see the merchant again. He's like, I can't believe he's not been in any other fucking game. And he's such an important part of 4, and he's like quite iconic and memeable. You think they'd like brought him back somehow?
Yeah.
Somehow, just like reel him back in. Maybe he's going to be in Reverse.
To look forward to.
Okay, that's actually something I wanted to talk about. So I think they should not remake that for a good while now, because if that was to, because see how with 2 and 3 came out like back to back. If they announced later this year, the remake of 4 is going to be out next year. Mistake, because it's going to be too similar.
Yeah, they did take. I mean, like up front, the game devs were very, very clear from the beginning, saying Resident Evil 4 was a major influence on the dev team for this game, and it always felt a bit weird to me hearing that and hearing at the same time that Resident Evil 4 remake was going forward.
Yeah, like unless they're gonna do the remake of 4 is gonna be more grounded and maybe it will be more like the version of 4 we didn't get. 3.5. So maybe
they're releasing it as VR though.
As well.
Well, they've done that as
that's also
with the original.
Yes,
it's got the original 4, which has been re-released again on, because it's already been on calculators and other things in VR, and then they're also apparently remaking 4 now. But because of Village, I'm sorry, I don't think you should, because it's gonna too many parallels are gonna be like, people are gonna go, this is the same.
They're gonna put Double V beer in the RE4 remake.
The main weapon is unlockable. I do want it because if we get more of the merchant, that's fine.
Yeah.
But I just think it'd be a mistake to do it now because of Village, because it would be just way too similar. Because Village is basically, I mean, it's almost like it's fate, because it is number 8. It's the 4th in this new series, almost. Because I know it's gone 7 then 8, but you've had 7, 2, and 3 remake, and then Village. It's the 4th one. And because we don't count Code Veronica, so I don't give a shit about Code Veronica. But you had 1, 2, 3.
One thing I will say is like, if you wanted a break between now and Resident Evil 4 remake, you could always just remake Code Veronica in between.
Yeah, make it good,
please.
Because Code Veronica, I think out of all of them, because bar the first one, which I never really thought the original Resident Evil was really any good. Like, I've never really liked OG Resident Evil. I love 2, 3. And I love the remake of 1 and stuff, but I've never really been a huge fan of OG Resident Evil. I always found it kind of just irritating more than scary back in the day. Let's have Itchy Tasty, which is fantastic though. But like, yeah, Code Veronica out of all of them, I think has aged the worst, because it was the first one to go, all the environments are fully 3D.
Of the main like series, yes. I mean, obviously, because there's plenty of Drek that like goes above that.
We don't talk about Survival, and we don't talk about Survivor 2 or Dead Aim.
I've
Dead Aim
never
was one
played
of them.
Dead Aim. I want to play it.
It looks, yeah, because it's like played from the third person perspective, and then when you aim, it goes first person. It's like, it looks like it could be okay. But yeah, out of the main line, like Code Veronica is the one that I feel could use the remake the most.
I want it.
Has, yeah, because I
That's
feel
what I
like
want.
there's more you can do with that. And
I mean,
aged
like
well.
RE2 make, RE3 make version of Code Veronica would be amazing. A lot of the fun set pieces would be great with that engine, and they can cut out shit that we know we all didn't like. You know, whatever they can do to cut out that kind of stuff, it's fine. I mean, I think
Yeah.
like the mansion part was really really long. It felt like the whole game. So when you defeat the
Yeah.
tyrant in the cargo plane, and you think, all right, that's it, and then it starts all over with the Antarctic base. It's like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I thought I was done. And there's like a whole like third of the game remaining after that.
Yeah, like as back in the day, like as a kid, like I always wanted more Resident Evil. It's like, oh, it's over, you know. So I felt with this. It's like, oh, it's over now. And I've always felt that way about the Metal Gear Solid games. So even 5, which is enormous. When I finished 5, it's over now. It's a shame. It's a part of my life that's kind of done. But because you can replay them, but you never get that first
It's
moment
never a
back.
second first time, yeah.
Yeah. But with Veronica, even as is like, I mean, I would have been. How old would I be? It was on PS2, so I would have been like 15 or maybe 14, 15, however old I was. And even then, like, you play as a bit of Chris and it's like, still going? Like,
Yeah.
I should not feel that way. Like, especially when I'm that young, I should not go, isn't it over yet? And it's like, wow, you get to play as Chris. I'm like, oh, I've got to do the fucking ironed and it's harder now.
I never had a problem with the length of Code Veronica. The only problem I had is that I played it on the original Dreamcast. So, like, the problem with the original Dreamcast is if you wanted to play more than one game at once, you were fucked because you didn't have enough save data room. Especially if you wanted to play Shenmue at any point in your life. Basically, like, Shenmue needed the whole VMU, so bye-bye save games. So I never really got all the way through Code Veronica on Dreamcast because of that.
Yeah, I do actually have Code Veronica on Dreamcast, but I have the Japanese special edition one in like a red. So you might be able to see the red thing over there. It's Biohazard Code Veronica. I bought it at a gaming convention because I wanted it. I'll never be able to play it because I won't be able to understand shit. But it's like, hey, it's a cool, nice box. It's got like on the front, it's Claire's the thing that's on the jacket, basically the angel. It's like, it's cool. I want that. But yeah, Code Veronica I feel like could absolutely do with remake, like some of the locations and some of the enemies like redesigned in this engine.
Yeah, like
And
cut the submarine section out. Cut.
Yeah.
What else? There's definitely areas where they could just chop it and not worry about it.
Slightly less creepy. That would
Gory lady
and less annoying.
Calm down.
Can't be slowing me down. Yeah.
But keep the father bit. I like that. That's silly. Father.
I'm like, oh, I hate you, Steve. It's like, just shoot him now. You'll be out of your misery.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we get them. It means we get more Claire. It basically means we get more Claire again because the only other time we played as her, since 2 is Revelations 2, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like,
we've seen more of her in the fucking live action movies than we have in like games, pretty much.
It's like Jill. I mean, you play as Revelations 1, but like, where is Jill just fucking falling off a cliff?
She's living her best life away from Wesker and all the problems. That's what's going on.
It's like, Chris, I can't even look at your arms. You're freaking me out.
She's laying back somewhere, like
Carlos,
tipping back a Dulvey beer, just enjoying herself.
Well, I do feel like actually that they are going to bring her back because of the ending to 3. Dulvey. I do feel like they're going to bring her back, though, actually, thinking about because the ending of Resident Evil 3 Remake has... It makes the point of how she wants to find out who Nikolai was working for, blah, blah, and it makes a point of her still having that antivirus at the end, so maybe they can do like a mid-quel? I don't know, but I want them to bring her back because it'd be nice to have Barry, Chris, and Jill back together again because we've never had a game with all of them again.
I always thought that Claire storming the Umbrella headquarters was a bit weird and was more Jill's kind of forte.
Yeah, there should be. I feel like it should have been Jill. It should have been Chris. Like, it should have been one of them. Like,
but whenever anyone mentions Jill Valentine, all I can think of is that picture that shows you're looking at her desk in Resident Evil 2, and it says there's a picture of probably her boyfriend, and then like in the remake, it's a picture of her dog.
I love that.
That's all I think about now when someone says Jill Valentine.
Love that. But I'd like to just see the gang back together again. It'd be nice. Why not?
It would be nice, but we've strayed away from Resident Evil quite a ways.
Resident Evil's great.
Do you think it's fair enough that we can we talked about Moreau before, right? Is there anything else really that we want to add about Moreau?
I mean, Moreau isn't really a dungeon or anything. It's just you go to meet Moreau. Moreau sets you a trap, and then you go fight him as a big fish. I didn't mind it, though. I mean, to me, it was like, okay, wow, Dimitrescu was a big part of the game. And then Beneviento, I was like, oh, okay. But like, if you know what you're doing in Beneviento, like 10, 15 minutes tops, no problem. Yeah. And then Moreau is like another 10, 15 minutes tops scenario. And I was like, oh, so I'm like, Dimitrescu is like the meat of the game.
And now we're just
following the other one.
I know Ethan and Mia's wedding anniversary off by heart.
So then there's Heisenberg.
So I never have to wash her ring in that puzzle anymore. Because like I was doing the speed run, and you're supposed to wash the ring to get they were married on the 5th of the 29th of the 5th of 2011. And I'll always remember that now. Because that's the code you need to get through the door super early.
Yeah.
So you can do it in 5 minutes is what I was going to say.
Yeah. Could you just go, and then once everything locks, could you just turn around and just input that, and then never take the ring out of the doll? Okay.
You still need the wine key, and you still need the silver key to get into the other door, but that's it,
Yeah.
Okay.
I like how they don't force you to have to discover too many numbers in this game. I think the only other one is that really cool, the only jump scare, but it was really fun.
I liked
it was really fun.
It got me.
Where you go into the village and it's like, look out the window, and it's like, oh fuck, and then you turn, look out the window, oh, the code's there. So they get you to like look and get the numbers lined up, just so you're like, okay, this is like, here's the scare, and I'm like, okay, getting my face real close to it.
Yeah,
it's perfectly timed because they timed it perfectly. They must have like gone through constant tests with it, because it's what it allows you to go. It allows you to notice, oh, there's numbers there, and then like you line them up, and it gives you enough time to go 7-7-0-4, and then just as you're about to read the final three, it goes rah, jumps up, and then oh Jesus fucking Christ, pump a shotgun into its face.
Yeah, that was the best, because one, not only was it the jump scare, that's fine, it's fine. It was at a safe distance, didn't do damage to the player. I like that. Those are my favorite jump scares. Yeah. Those are okay. I know why you did that, and I'm having fun too. We're all having fun. You didn't send me back to the save screen or something. And then my shotgun was already pointed out the window. I just reflex fired. I didn't even think about it. It was like a quarter of a frame difference between height of jump scare, pulling of trigger. Like,
you guys ever seen that clip of like there's this guy in a school, and he's talking to a camera or something. It's like an interview, and they've got someone in the bin who like jumps out and goes like that out of the bin, and this guy just like socks him straight in the face.
I've seen that. Yeah,
it's perfect, and it's that kind of reaction. It's just like
That's a really that's a great. I can't believe I'd forgotten about that. That's a good skin. It's a fun little puzzle. Oh, I figured that out. That's fun. It's much better than the one in the magician's house. It's like, what could the code possibly be? Hello, kid's drawing that is really standing out and is not in shadow or anything, and looks like it's illuminated. Can't be anything to do with that.
The big letters 27. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And it's like that was the only one. I was like, come on, at least make me search for it. It was literally just. It's there and it's so bright. Like, that's a code. So I like this code because it's not in shadow. It's anything like, cool. And you even find out it's like, oh, it's my book door. It's like, still all your cellos. There weren't as many puzzles as I was expecting though, which is a good thing.
They've given up on puzzles since RE4, honestly. I mean, when you remember, like, when you play Resident Evil 4 the first time, your puzzles are literally, here's the key, and then there's the door that uses the key, keep going, fire at the Ganados, save Ashley. Like, that's, the puzzles were actually finding the treasures, which were something you could skip over entirely.
Because, like, I like puzzles in style horror games, I think they're great. But then you get puzzles like the chess puzzle in the 2 remake that makes me want to shoot myself, like the B scenario one.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh. It's like, hey, do you remember how easy it was with Leon? You just put them in, like, yeah, like.
The worst part as
You
well is
dumb bastard.
that solution is different on hardcore, so I always get mixed up in my head which one is the correct solution. So
Yeah.
even though I know the solution, I still fuck it up.
Yeah, because you think, yeah, exactly. So yeah, there's because most of the cause it's kind of a carryover from Seven, is that it's more about examining items. I would have liked to have more stuff with examining items. Like again, that is the nittiest of nitpicks, but it would have been nice just to have like a few more things of, oh, there's a thing here and I can push a button. Oh, it's a new treasure.
Yeah, there are a couple of treasures like that,
yeah.
but
Yeah,
literally
cool.
only 1 or 2.
Yeah, it
but
would have
I
been nice to have a
like
few
that
more.
because that adds that whole escape room feel. I think that's why it feels like House Beneviento feels so much like escape room to me. It's because escape rooms are all about like, oh, feeling along. I found a thing. Let's look at the thing. I like that.
Yeah, I think what the whole game, the game as a whole, I think what it achieved so well is it still felt very Resident Evil with a bit over the top at times, but it still felt very Resident Evil. But it also managed to still feel very video gamey as well. It's like you have to get the 4 things to put in the thing to get the thing, and then you pick the thing up to put in the other thing. It's very video gamey. Although I'd got a chuckle at the idea of when you put the 4 pieces of rose into the pedestal and then you get it as a key item. Like, what is he just carrying out on his back? Like,
it's like
was he carrying his bad hat?
Oh, like around like this, and he's just like
shotgun.
taking my baby to the ceremony.
Also, the moment that made me chuckle was when you can use the zip lines in the factory. I was like, Ethan, not to criticize you or anything, but maybe you should use the hand that has all the fingers remaining. Not just like I'm trying to. Like, I think you're going to grip too well with just that. But
yeah,
it's like he's strong. So where do you put this stuff? But that's a Resident Evil thing anyway. But so we've touched on Moreau.
we touched on Moreau. It's fine. Moreau's fine.
The gameplay is, well, a lot of the gameplay is very Resident Evil 4 like. Going right back to when you first get to the village, there's that great moment where you fight off the first couple of Lycans, and then you get to that part of the village, and the objective comes up, just says survive the attack. Like, no,
what now?
No, I'm
Which
hiding.
Again, was a very Resident Evil 4 thing to do as well.
Yeah. Even to the fact that it's seeming like a timed thing. So I think it's either you take enough damage or you kill enough of them. Although you can
it's
kill
4 minutes as well. I think is the something like 4 minutes.
Yeah, and you can die. You can die. I found that out the hard way. You can die in that. I thought you couldn't. I'm like my first initial run where I was off stream. I was just getting used to the game. I was like, yeah, whatever. Ba, running, run, shoot, run, shoot. Oh, it ends. Oh, so it's one of those things where it's just going to end over some time. So when I streamed it, I was like, yeah, who cares? I'll shoot this Lycan once or twice. I'm not going to kill him though. I'm just going to run around and go find stuff. Ooh, scary Lycans.
Made a huge mistake.
I made a colossal mistake, a life-ending mistake right here. Actually,
I did find out that apparently you can kill the big chungus with the hammer.
Yeah.
Urias, I think his name, you can actually kill him in that bit, and he still comes back later, which is quite funny. But that's actually that's reminding me of something I would to touch on. I only really liked maybe 2 boss fights because I wouldn't count Donna Beneviento as a boss fight really.
No.
I liked the Lady Dimitrescu boss fight. I thought it was quite funny. It's very Dark Souls boss design actually, which is quite cool. And like fighting on the roof was quite cool, quite fun. Didn't really like the Moreau fight.
When I first played that bit, by the way, it's just like welcome to Hogwarts because she like picks you up and flies you through all these like turrets and stuff.
So I liked her boss fight, although this is the things I found all the bosses quite easy. But at the same time, some of them were a bit frustrating because I don't feel like they were designed in I'm trying to put the right way to put it. The fact the game is played in the first person perspective does not work to the game's benefit in certain boss fights because the way some of them move, like the big chungus with the axe, or even when you fight as Chris with the giant mace, I feel like that there was so many times like I can't see anything. Like that fight is particularly in the stronghold. I couldn't see anything. It was so dark. I don't know why I can't just push circle to turn my flashlight on. I couldn't see anything, and it was. I didn't have fun fighting that guy because it was so much of. I think I'm running away from him. I turn around. Oh, he's still over there. I guess I'll shoot him a bit. Oh, now I gotta run. I think he's missed me. I do. And
it's very
I
close
didn't.
quarters, that fight as well. It's a very small arena.
Yeah, and it's very dark. It's just a bit too difficult to see. I felt the Miranda fight was okay. The Miranda fight was okay because she wasn't a great big chunky monster. I mean, she has like different forms, but you've got Lady Dimitrescu is huge. Moreau is huge as well. Heisenberg's huge. And you have the two Chunguses that you fight as one's as Ethan, one's as Chris, and it's because they're so big, it doesn't feel like it works so well in a first person's perspective, which is why like the Lycans work. Stuff like the Lycans, they all work because you can see them on it because your view, because it's all first person. You can actually see what you're shooting at. They're too big, it gets a bit cumbersome and a bit too much on the screen. The Heisenberg one is obviously different because you're on on Chris's entry for Robot Wars, so it's okay. Which I need to talk about that because it was one of the funniest things for me. Is like just on Chris like Chris, oh, we doing? It's like, hello, oh, this is my battle tank.
Yeah, I just MacGyvered this shit together.
It's like Chris, you've been like, yeah, I've been building this fucking pool, right? Oh, what, you want to ride it? Shit, this is dangerous as shit. Go for it, buddy.
Yeah, you remember like Resident Evil 1, it's like it says something like Chris is like 21 or something, and he's already an ex-Navy SEAL. Like all of this shit, and it's like now we get to add like roboticist to the list.
I was under the impression that tank was already built, though.
No,
like it was ready to go. I mean, he was wrenching some things together, but he wasn't.
If it's built, it's even worse because Heisenberg like literally left this thing around that can just kill him in his factory.
And because it's got the password, it's like, oh, he can't control this because of the alloy. It's like, I'm just like, why would he have that? It's like I'm gonna leave this thing around to kill me.
That shit.
It's so funny. It was like, yeah. Chris is like, you know what, buddy? I like the cut of your jib. You can go and ride the Deathmobile.
I love that he makes it or finds it and fixes it up and then just doesn't even like. It's like, Ethan, you can use it. You can use it.
He's like, oh, he's just like, I'm gonna go cool. He's like, you know what, Ethan? Yeah, we're all right now. We're good. We're bros now. I like you, boy. Go on. Good luck. Sucker. It's like, God, can you believe like he's just raiding with the rest of Wolfhound? It's like, can you believe like fucking dickhead? He wants to ride it. God, I'd have died. I'd fit in that. But yeah, the Robot Wars thing's great. But yeah, I didn't really. I felt a bit underwhelmed by the bosses. I think because of the issues like gameplay wise. I like the characters for the most part. But I had the most fun fighting Miranda because she's not. She has like not only is she not massive, she's also a smaller target to hit as well, which actually makes her more challenging for all the right reasons. But she also has multiple forms that she will switch between. She has lots of dangerous attacks. She's the one who felt the most boss-like. It's like she has attacks, and it's like this is the moment when I have to hide from this attack. Okay, she's building up this big attack. If I get a few shots off on her, it will stun her, and she'll basically lose that attack. That's great. Whereas all the others were big lumbering monsters that you just had to kind of run away from, and then just go bang, bang, bang.
The one thing I will say about Miranda is because at that point, like it suffers from end boss syndrome, where like especially in a Resident Evil game where I've consumed my ammunition. So basically, I've got like 20 or 30 Magnum rounds, and so like. I really didn't have a problem with Miranda because I was just plowing Magnum rounds into her face the whole time. And it kind of like it suffered a bit because there was no like. I mean, I could have made it fun for myself and not done that, but because I had all this shit, and especially because I thought I'd lost it all when they like switched to a different character, I was like, how could you die, Ethan? I had 300 Magnum rounds. Like I've been saving.
Seriously, one of my first. I didn't voice it. My first thought was my Magnum.
Yeah, my Magnum, my beautiful Magnum.
My wolf hunting pistol is gone.
I didn't have that. I didn't have that at all because you know why? I used the Magnum on every one of those soldats with the fucking drills or the spinning propellers or whatever. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to make this hard for myself. I know that Whatever comes next, I'll be able to kill it. If it's a boss, I can use handgun, I can use shotgun, I can use rifle, I can damage it. It's just fine. But I won't be fighting that boss in close quarters like this. So what I'm gonna do is flashbang whatever SotD I see, pull out the magnum, hit the reactor, one shot, one kill, just keep on moving. I did that to every late game SotD that I came across. Every single one. I don't regret it at all. So when Ethan died, I had no magnum ammo. I didn't give a shit. Fuck it.
I'm just sad as shit.
It's a good strategy in a way, to be fair. But like, I did the exact opposite thing. I used all of my sniper rifle, or my shotgun, or my pistol on those things. The last one, like, I think there are 2 mech ones, like super like armored
with jetpacks.
Yeah. When you go back to the mold, and like not the mold, but the mold that molds
molder,
things. Yeah. And so I killed the first one, and then the second one started coming down this corridor towards me, and I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, I do not have the resources for this. So I just went back into the room before, let him come in, snuck past him, and just ran for it, because I was like...
Yeah, I hated those panzers. I know that they were like, it was supposed to be like, oh, they're going to be really tough. They annoyed the piss
I think we should
out
just,
of
in general, talk about Heisenberg now, so that we can then move on to the end game stuff. So yeah, the one thing I did like about the factory is the fact that you keep coming back to the mold room.
Yeah, that was really cool. I liked that. It's like a multiple it's not one of those things where, oh, you've used it, it's done now.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I've got a new thing I can take back.
Yep.
I like
you
that,
make a crest, you make a ball, you make the Heisenberg key, and you make a gear.
Yeah.
So you come back to it 4 times. Yeah.
And some of those areas are completely optional. You have to make the key, but then when you've made the key, there is like Heisenberg's like room just up the stairs. And if you remember, or if you check your map often, you can kind of just head on up there and get the other piece of the treasure that fits together to make his hammer. But like that's completely optional. And the other thing that happened to me while I was playing is I was constantly, especially by the time I got to Heisenberg's factory, I was consciously aware of the points of no return. Because a game like this is kind of frustrating when like you leave something behind in the castle and you're like, oh, maybe we'll get to go back to the castle and get it, and you're not going to get back in the castle.
I realized that with Louise's house, when it burns down, there's a treasure in one of those rooms that I never got, and I was just like one of the rooms was still red on the map. I don't know what I missed. It might have been a single handgun bullet. I don't know, but it was there, and I could never go back and get it at all ever. I was like, man.
It was like the ring that you get in Castle Dimitrescu, and I didn't get the other things. It was the only combinable treasure that I missed.
Same,
because there's only 5 of them, I think.
Yeah, and it is that room in the dungeon that you get a little drawing of on a piece of paper.
Is that?
Yeah, because I got it through my second time through. Yeah,
I missed that as well. Yeah,
you're supposed to go back down there once you've got the key with the 3 loops on top. The iron insignia key. Okay. And I just didn't think of it at the time.
Yeah, I was so like...
I did.
Well done.
It's probably the only treasure that I got that you guys didn't get, because honestly, I didn't get half the late game shit. I was running from Dimitrescu, and I knew where she was, so I just knew where she couldn't go. I happened to go back down to the dungeons and go, oh, I have the key for this. Go in there, grab it, combine the treasure, run out of there. Well, at least it wasn't a wasted trip, right, stream? Right. And then I just went back up to a different direction, going around Dimitrescu. Like, I realized that when she was hunting me down, it was like certain areas that she would be in, period. So I just went to all the outside areas to move around her until I got to where I needed to be, and then the boss fight and stuff. So.
Actually, before we go back to the factory, did either of you try to shoot the hat off of Lady Dimitrescu?
No.
You didn't shoot the what?
I tried to shoot her to see if it would do anything, and it didn't really do.
No.
Because obviously I was thinking of Mr. X in 2, because you can shoot his hat for it. You get the trophy.
Oh,
hat.
Like, okay, yeah.
So I wonder if it does anything like that. It doesn't always happen. If you shoot I think it's like a random chance for it to happen. She'll stop, grab her hat, and actually reposition it after you've hit her. And she says something like, "Well, that was frustrating. No, that was irritating." And she just like claws out, walks towards you. It's great. Like, she just repositioned it.
There are lots of little things to find in this game like that, though, because there's a whole not cut scene, but there's a whole scene that I completely missed in the castle, where if you kill 2 of her daughters but not the 3rd one, and then you come back into the main room, like like that with the fireplace and everything downstairs. If you come in upstairs, you can hear her downstairs talking to her other daughter, going like, "Go and find him."
Oh yes, yeah, I heard that. And she's
Yeah,
like,
I saw
"Kill
it on
him
YouTube, and I
now."
was like, I completely missed that. So I like that there are some things in there that reward second and third time through, etc.
Yeah, and yeah, it's little details, but yeah, that's the factory. I started out not really liking the factory and find it quite comical with the Borg and the zombies with their VR
I
goggles.
was
But
calling
I
them
ended up,
Borg as well.
yep.
And I
I
was
think it was
calling
someone
the
else.
Lycans Uruk Hai as well, because especially their stronghold, like
Yes.
it seemed exactly like what is it, Isengard?
Yeah.
With,
My friend works at the same thing. Was like, they're orcs.
pretty much.
They are. Um. So yeah, I started out not liking the stronghold. I warmed to it eventually. It was like, oh, it's quite cool. There's multiple levels to go. There's lots of keys to get. This is great. And then the Jet Boys came in, and all I I found yeah, they're the funniest thing in the game.
They are quite funny, yeah.
Like, I'm like, why have they got that? What's the deal with the helmets? Like, Busy Film's like, yes, what I need them to be is more aerodynamic. And then I'm reading the document, and he's got that little drawing of them and everything, and it mentions how, oh, they have jetpacks, but they can't fly in them, but they can move quick. And then they got the laser beam. I was like, oh, what game am I playing? I kept making jokes of like, am I on the Bioshock set? Is this the new Bioshock set? Have I stumbled on? It's like, what the fuck? Like, I had the creepy castle and the creepy manor. What? And I had someone who's in the clock tower team saying, well, I mean, that's not. You're not saying this is the strangest thing you fought in the Resident Evil series. I'm like, no, but it might be the goofiest.
Yeah.
Like, it's like I'm fighting Terminators. Like,
So-
he looks like something from an anime.
His little file says that they he added the jetpacks and stuff. Doesn't mention why he had to take the eyelids off some of them as well. That's just for fun, I guess.
It's like,
There's the one guy who's just like, he just has eyeballs.
something like that.
Yeah.
And then you got Sturm, and he's like, I should put a propeller on his head. And he accidentally cut his arms off.
Right. Cuts his arms
I
off.
feel like I was bullying him. It's like, Sturm, I'm sorry. He's like, "Rrr." I'm like, picking him.
But he was a failed experiment. And
Yeah,
I mean,
apparently.
I'm just going to say this out loud for the chat as well, because I think it's important to note that Heisenberg's intent was to create an army to resist Miranda.
Yeah.
And he used what resources he had. Unfortunately, he couldn't raise an actual army, but he could build one. He had all this scrap metal and all this kind of stuff in this big factory. Yeah. He pulled in. I'm sorry, Garlips. I'm very sorry,
No.
I just have to say all of this because
Do it.
I think within the context, Heisenberg's mech army makes sense. And I think it would be so awesome to see Heisenberg's final form rushing Miranda's house, leading the charge with all these soldats, fucking propellers and leaping and jetpacking around with drills and shit. I want to see that fucking movie. I want to see Miranda be like, "Oh my god, Heisenberg, what the fuck are you doing?"
All
and
I
then
was
like
gonna say-
drills come out and shit.
All I was
Is that
gonna
a
say is
jetpack?
the worst line, well, one of the funniest or like silliest lines in the game is just when he goes, "No, my metal army."
Yeah, my metal army. I mean, those were his children. The theme is family, is what I'm trying to say.
No, it's a good point actually, and I was going to touch on this later, but I may as well do it now. Like, it's a really interesting theme, the idea of like parenthood and creating offspring, because it's really interesting that Miranda, during her old studies, is trying to make she's trying to get her daughter Ava back.
Yeah.
In doing so, she also creates these children who are like, Dimitrescu, Beneviento, etc. And it's interesting how all of those people are also trying to create their own children. Dimitrescu has created her daughters, Moreau is trying to create things, and Heisenberg is
Beneviento's made all those dolls.
Exactly.
Like, all those dolls are her children.
And she's put the parasite, a little piece of the parasite in all the dolls, and that's why she can control them.
Yeah. So I think that's a really interesting way of carrying the theme, like the themes of parenthood and offspring through like all areas of the game.
Yeah,
I think it was really effective.
It's the aliens to Resident Evil 7's Alien. You know.
Yeah. I think I actually
well.
said that to you at some point or something. Yeah, that.
I'm pretty sure Matt said it first.
No, that was
No, I'm just messing with you.
nice.
Why
But no,
not?
but even more so with the whole parenthood thing, it enforces that even more because that's a running theme in Aliens is parenthood because then at the end it's basically two mothers fighting each other at the end of Aliens. It's great, I love it. And Sigourney Weaver's fucking awesome. But yeah, the whole family thing is and it was a theme of the Seven as well. And you've got Chris with his family, his wolf pack.
It'll probably be the theme of 9 also, I hope.
Maybe.
I mean, why not? Okay. Like, this feels like a trilogy anyway now. 7 and 8 definitely lead directly into each other. One has the cause and effect because EV in 7 is a direct effect of Miranda trying to get her daughter back and trying to understand the Megamycete and all that kind of stuff. And the aftershocks of that event have created 8. So, and the end of 8 leads to another character, which is definitely going to be a thing in 9, which is definitely going to happen because Resident Evil 8 was one of the fastest selling survival horror games, I think, of the year or some period of time. And I'm sure that had nothing to do with Dimitrescu. Everyone was on board with just the half wolf, half man Chris cover on the front. It totally sold the game really quick.
I mean, I want his coat. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I want to get a coat like that. So, but no joke. I want that coat.
I think 7 did gangbusters, and a lot of people came into the series on 7. So I think that I think 8 was. I mean, obviously some of it is owed to like Big Bummy Milkers or whatever the fuck the meme is called, but like some of it is also just that like I think Capcom at the moment are going in the mainline tiles from strength to strength with Resident Evil. At the moment, I mean, I've not really hit a bad run in a while. I mean, some people would argue maybe Resident Evil 3 remake wasn't as good, but I loved it.
Yeah, I loved it as well. It was disappointing in terms of length, I think 3.
Yeah,
but I still enjoyed it. People would just hark on about the length a bit too much. I'm like, is that the only thing you don't like?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, Nemesis. I'm like, if they had done Nemesis like he was in the original, you'd be complaining that he was too much like Mr. X. It's like I knew from the moment he wasn't going to be like that because there's no way they could do that again because they kind of wrote themselves into a corner. Like, well, we kind of actually did that in the 2 remake. He's got to be different. He's got to be more scripted. And that was fine because they switched it. Because you know what? If you don't like it, go back and play the old one.
That's right. That's what I tell everybody. It doesn't overwrite the game you liked. Go back and play that game. Continue to play that game. It's fine. You enjoy it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You enjoy playing that more than you enjoy bitching about other stuff, right? Because it's a more positive way to spend your time, right?
Precisely. But what's cool about it is that they haven't made the remakes the new canon. Like when you do lots of the reading, they say, oh, in reports it says Nikolai did this, but in another report it's also said that he actually tried to steal a helicopter from Jill and Carlos at the Nest 2 base. It's like, okay, so they're actually kind of sending it more as like reports and documented events. Like, okay, fine, but so do we go
Heisenberg fight? Should probably go back to the Heisenberg fight.
The Heisenberg fight. Okay, I didn't like it because I was just a bit underwhelmed by his monstrous fight. I know all of them like become monsters essentially.
Yeah.
I didn't like the fights. I didn't mind the fight with Lady Dimitrescu. I didn't really like the fight with Moreau. I liked their designs though, but I think for me like Heisenberg's monster form was it was too much like a mess of mechanical. And I know that was his whole shtick, and I totally get that, but it was more. Yeah. It's like I can't. Like he just looked like something from
Transformers.
Okay. Yeah, I was like, what the fuck is? And it's like, why does shooting those bits hurt him more than
because they're
shooting
red.
white? Yeah, I know.
They're the reactors that you've been shooting throughout the entire factory.
Yeah, but my metal men, or metal army. But yeah, like I didn't like the fight that much. Like it felt, I was like, oh, this is gonna be a cool fight, and it was still really kind of a bit underwhelming for me, boss fight wise, with him.
The one thing I did like about it is that you are set up to be it's mech v mech, and then they take away the mech for a minute. I did like that because that makes you think, oh shit.
Yeah, I was like, I was like, I can use this as cover. It's destroyed. There's one left.
It's a bit of a joke if you then go for the knife only run. Because even if you're only on casual and you're using the strongest knife, it's still kind of insane to be taking this thing down by hitting it with a knife.
Yeah, exactly. Like, haha, now your one weakness. Stab him in the eye. But it does like go completely bonkers when he gets like a whirlwind thing, and you're like, whoa, whoa, and then you grab onto the thing, like, what is happening?
Yeah.
What the fuck? It's a sci-fi game now. I mean, it's sci-fi anyway, but it's like, what's fucking going on? So yeah, I was a bit disappointed with that because I thought it's mech versus mech, it's power loader versus aliens again. But
Okay, yeah.
I thought they could have done a bit more with the fight. It's like, oh, I just shoot a gun. I was like, do I still have the chainsaw arm? And it's just powering. I'm like, come on, let me use it.
Oh yeah, I was a little disappointed when I played it again. I was like, I thought I remembered using this chainsaw as a melee weapon, and it's like, no, you just use it to block. I'm like, well, could I have something better than a chainsaw to block with, please?
Yes.
Because any damage to this chainsaw is probably going to knock the chain off the saw, could swing back and take my head off. I mean, none of this is safe.
Can I just say on behalf of horror games and movies everywhere, okay? As someone who has used a chainsaw to cut down trees, those things don't fucking start half the time. If they do start, the chain constantly gets run off. You have to reset the thing. They do not withstand the amount of damage that people put them through in games and movies. They do not start. Like, you'd be dead. You're dead.
But Tom, you forget it was made out of a special alloy that Heisenberg can control.
Of course.
Because if you don't know, chat, he's basically Magneto. In fact, they kind of like rip off a kind of a shot from
they
one
did
of the
the thing
X-Men
where
films
he's
where
walking down the metal.
he's
Yeah.
making and it's like, hello, Ian McKellen.
And they have that one bullshit line in a file somewhere that says, "Oh, he has bioelectricity, like in manta rays or something."
Like, and that means he can what? But I love the
I
whole.
understand with Resident Evil there is a suspension disbelief, and I'm absolutely fine with that. I prefer it in my grounded stuff, but I know that at some point we're going to be in a mech. We're going to be in the air shooting rockets at a fucking thing. I get it.
Yeah, it's just I love it so much. Like, yes, I'm going to create a tank and leave it around with lots of weapons that I can't control that are really dangerous and could fuck me up. I hope Chris Redfield doesn't pick a battle pass. That'd be funny, wouldn't it? Oh, no, I'm dead. I've already brought up that moment, but I can't get the image of walking in. Oh no, Ethan wakes up, doesn't he? Just like waking up, just seeing Chris like tinkering with this thing. It's like, I'm entering Robot Wars. It's gonna be great. So Killer Lot doesn't stand a chance. Any fans of Robot Wars, pat yourself on the back. So Killer Lot, for you don't know, Chris, Robot Wars was a really awesome show in the UK where people would create homemade robots and they would battle against the competently made robots from the way, and there was ones like Sickle a Lot, which was literally there just to.
They were the house robots that kind of like patrolled these arenas
and would destroy their hopes and dreams. I know there's so many times where like Sickle a Lot would just obliterate one of their robots, and the camera would cut to them, and they look so sad. I totally want to build them, but
Do you guys ever have Robot Wars in America?
We have something like that, and it's been canceled years ago. But it wasn't like House Robot versus anything competent. It was all just House Robot versus House Robot. And you had those commentators who were just like, wow, it's so exciting. And it's like actually just like one robot's hitting the other one with a hammer.
Yeah. We have pretty much the same thing, except it was hosted by this guy called Craig Charles, who's like notorious in this country for being kind of like a comic actor in a sitcom set in space about like science fiction and stuff. So like that was his angle, and he'd taken the thing incredibly seriously, dressed in a leather jacket with like things hanging off it, and did like kiss salutes and stuff. And then it would be like, I don't know, like a really really strange man who like built a thing in his shed with his kids and brought it in to like fight.
Like, hello, I'm Jacob Johnson.
I had a science teacher who was one of these people who was on Robot Wars.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But it was great because it was always like, hello, I'm Derek, and this is my son Nick, and this is our robot called Whirlwind. We built it over a course of 5 months in our shed in Dorset.
It has a self-righting mechanism.
It's great because Craig Charles took it really seriously, but he was having fun. Yeah. And the best thing was the commentator is a football commentator. Okay. So you often hear him commentating on a lot of like high-profile football matches over here, and it made it more fun because he was having fun as well, and he was getting really excited, and Yeah, Robot Wars was great. Anyway,
Yeah, it's so many
Yeah,
memes. Like, we
speaking of
can't go
Robot
through
Wars-
them all.
So-
Like,
yeah, so we meet Chris, and we find out that Chris is actually not a bad guy. He's a secret good guy, even though I knew he was a good guy after you met him in the fishing village and he saved you.
Yeah.
He's like, Ethan, you
I
out of your
couldn't-
depth.
I couldn't tell you. And it's like, yeah, you could.
Yeah, you could. He's like, I couldn't, because I knew if I told you, then you want to get involved. I'm like, no.
What he should have said was, if I told you, Miranda might find out.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly. It's like, actually, that line, you're lying, Chris, aren't you? Because later you say that you didn't tell him because you thought he might have been infected. You're a liar, Chris. You're a liar and a fiend.
I mean, like, Ethan will rock up in a completely different state, ready to kill motherfuckers based on a spam email. So, like,
it gets a Vine or a
everyone has to
TikTok.
take
from
one look,
stuff
and
as
it's
well.
like, don't come, Ethan. Like, it's like, okay, yeah, fine, whatever. Click.
Ethan's like, gonna go save my wife,
Yeah, exactly.
who's been dead for 2 or 3
Face paint
years.
on, gets the bandana on. It's like, it's murdering time. So we find out, obviously, Chris knew that it was actually Miranda, which I thought was actually quite cool that it was Miranda.
I didn't see it coming. I was just like, oh, okay. I thought that Mia was just going to be killed off in this. She wasn't an important enough character to keep around or whatever. That's fine. But
my chat thought it was the real Mia,
around.
but that Mia had like been put on ice or something. She'd probably be fine like later on. But we didn't make the guess that it was until we found the file with mimicry, and then that was the clue.
Yeah, but I thought it was really weird when he's like, look, it was her, and that's why I shot the shit out of her, right? And then you actually think about it as well, that explains why when she gets shot the first time, she kind of just, fuck is that? Like, if a real person gets shot, you go,
oh, I need to pretend to be dead. Okay.
But you would, oh shit, and you would probably hand up and you would fall to your knees, but she gets shot, so, oh fuck. It's that? Like, she's almost like,
and then whoever shot her is like, wait a minute, let's do that again.
One bullet didn't do it.
Chris just got a bam, 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 grenade in the mouth. Like, I'd have chopped her to bits.
That's the thing. Like, if I was Chris Redfield, I'd be like, the baby can wait about 10 minutes. We're gonna completely decimate this body. We're gonna pulverize it. We're gonna light it on fire. We're gonna bury it deep into the earth and cover it with like a fucking lead shield or something. Make sure she can't just fucking rise out of this.
That's where I'd be like, Lobo, bring me the axe. Bring me the axe. I do like that he says like, you know, she must have mimicked being dead. Like, but no, maybe she just played dead. It's like, anyone can do that. She mimicked being dead. She mimicked being a dead body.
And
weird,
then
Chris.
we got them all in the same van and drove them back.
Like, it's like, Chris, we need to talk to Jill. We need to have an intervention, Chris. Let's get Claire on the line.
Right.
Well, so we have the big reveal. I've also I liked the reveal. The only thing I didn't like about the twists is that they follow each other very closely. So it's like, oh, big reveal. It's another big. Okay, another big reveal. Like,
yeah,
damn,
I mean, I was starving for plot content anyway, so I was just like eating it up. Finally, getting to the point where I could get to say, well, I'm no longer going to be spoiled by this game or by people on Twitter, because I finally got to the point where it's telling me everything I need to know.
Yeah,
so
like,
I was okay with that.
Reveal. It's like so much information, but at the same time I liked it. And we get the reveal that Oswald E. Spencer visited the village. It's like, I like that because there is the document that you find at an optional area where there's a big axe chungus that's not a fun boss. That's not a fun mini boss fight at all. And I feel like the fact that you can cheese those fights is intentional, because I think the devs realized they weren't good fights.
They were really easy to cheese though. Like, you didn't even have to try. You just ran away once, and then they run away, and it's like, oh, can I keep doing this?
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, I reckon in partway through they realized this isn't good, but
that
we can't
fight
cut them out.
with the big axe chungus as Chris. Even on casual difficulty with the karambit knife, takes 15 minutes. Because if you're going for the knife only, you can't use the laser, and you are literally just running around that pit, stabbing it in the knee over and over and over again. And I was reading a guide, and it said, like, do not be alarmed, this takes 15 minutes.
It's like, make sure you're sitting down before you read this. It takes 15 minutes.
It's like, you might think you're not doing anything, but if blood is coming out every so often, you are doing something.
Fuck.
Yeah.
That's
like, how do you guys feel about the playing? Because I gathered that you, Matt, were quite happy with the Chris thing.
I liked it because I'm like, I get to play as Chris again. Because the Chris we got in 7, I don't know who that was. I don't know what weirdo that was that they picked off the streets. That was not Chris Redfield. Like, I don't know what was wrong with his face. At least he looks like Chris now. Like, I don't know what was wrong with his face, but I liked it because, like, yes, I get to play as Chris again, but at the same time, it did feel very Call of Duty. It's like, okay, we got tactical, and it's like, I just would have liked some. I also don't think you get to play him as enough. It's like, Chris, I'm like, cool. What the you've given me Chris, now you've taken him away. Why must you do this?
I've never played a Call of Duty game, so for me it was like, this is fun. I just enjoyed it. Finally, just you know, I mean, like,
it's kind of cathartic that you can just unload on stuff.
Yeah, you get so many bullets. I don't even. I mean, I may have spent like 300 rounds in that area, just off the top of my head, based on how much ammo I've spent and how much I've collected. But you finish that area on a normal run, not casual difficulty, but like normal difficulty. You finish that run with like over 600 rounds just sitting in your pockets. You're very clearly not meant to have the survival aspect of survival horror anymore, which I guess that's a detriment to that scene. But for me, it was just like, finally, Chris is on. He's on the ball. He's ready to go. This is the Chris that has been evolving over like 8 games. He doesn't even hold back. He's just ready to kill. It's like, yes.
Yeah, because it's like the Call of Duty aspect. I was like, oh, I don't like. When it's the vision, like, okay, Alpha, we're going in. Go and talk to Price. Where's Soap? I didn't like all that, but once the action started, I quite liked it.
It's a COD reference. Don't worry.
Okay,
there's a guy called Soap.
Okay,
and I liked.
Is he clean?
No, not really.
He's Scottish. Does that answer your question?
Squeaky clean.
Gotcha.
But I think it did a really good job of establishing that Chris is really good and that he is top tier at what he does now, because
he's earned the Alpha title. Damn it.
Yeah, because you come across those big werewolf things, which are great enemies. They're terrifying in the main game, and you gun them down. It's like Chris is like, I've seen so much shit, and I've dealt with so much. Like, this is his job. Like, it's no wonder he's kind of cold now. Like, this is his work. This is his job now. And I liked that. Because I'm about the very Call of Duty feel. And again, it didn't give me enough because it's very sequel baity with this whole BSAA thing. I didn't know they were bad guys now.
Apparently, in concept art, it says that there was supposed to be a 3-way battle between Chris, the BSAA, and the things. So again, it's one of those instances where the concept art reveals the greater idea behind it. Like, for instance, we haven't even mentioned that Ada Wong was supposed to be in the game as well.
Really?
Yeah, she's in the concept art. She was supposed to be the person who originally saves you from the, when you're chained up like this at the beginning.
Yeah.
She's supposed to be the one who saves you, and she's kind of dressed in this like Reaper outfit, but they cancelled, they cut her for time because they felt like it was too many conflicting scenarios or something like that.
Fair. So that's fair.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot to be gained from looking through those concept arts for context. But yeah, it does mean that when they made a decision to maybe not go into something for whatever reason, maybe it was the game was too busy or whatever, it does come across as being just kind of like thrown in there without kind of like proper justification or explanation. Like we were saying, we started with the Wolf Squad, where they've all got names and they've all got unique personalities and you can collect all 5. But like, it's like,
and you get a piece of Chris Redfield in each package.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like,
and he's bigger than all of them.
Apparently, they were also supposed to play a much larger part and appear more in the game. And so it's a case of like, I get why you cut it. I think it was probably the best idea to cut it, but you should have maybe gone the whole hog and like just. I guess once you put the time and the effort into making like people and materials and things, you want to use them.
Yeah. So and those, like the Chris's squad, the Alpha, the Wolf Squad, or whatever. The animations that we saw were probably what was already done before they decided to cut it. You know what I mean? Or they had some incomplete stuff afterwards that they just cut that part, kept the complete stuff, and just left it as it was.
And I mean, you do get a sense that they are a tight knit unit and they've known each other for a while. I mean, which is, I guess, is all you really need.
Yeah, because he's basically like dragged them, not dragged, but he's like taken them from the BSAA with him, isn't he? But see, again, like, the cut battle you're talking about would have been a perfect way to see how these guys operate as a unit. Establish them as like this. It's not just Chris that's good, like, they are all really fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Like, no one had any fear. All of them lived. That was the best part to me. Like, for once, Chris led a squad that didn't get decimated in the fucking game. Resident Evil 6, Resident Evil 5.
Yeah, you know what as well, like, thinking about it, if I'm him, like, please don't call me Alpha. Why? Oh, let me see. Oh, what? Jill, what squad were we? What unit were we in the stars? Oh, yes! And they all died. Don't call me Alpha. But yeah, it would have been nice to, like, establish them. Like, how do they work as a unit? Show, don't tell. Show them that they are really good as a unit. Like, they can take these things down. Make them feel like the Avengers team they apparently are, or whatever.
Yeah.
Make them, show that. But yeah, that's why because as soon as you see the BSA arrive and Chris has that line of, "What are they doing?" and he sounds disgusted, like, "Oh, what the fuck? What's this?"
Yeah.
Like, BSA aren't good, and he was like, that would have been nice to have known because if we don't know that, because we don't know he's actually left BSAA until the end of the game, because he's with Blue Umbrella at the start of at the end of 7, but that's because they requested his assistance from the BSAA because they wanted a expert on the field, and he wants to kind of keep an eye on Blue Umbrella, which I'm glad seems to be on the level because that's refreshing, and it's a nice switch that they are now good guys because they're the good people from Umbrella that were silenced, and now you've got the other evil, and they're trying to basically clear up their mess. So they're actually using the tech they had and the knowledge to create good things like the healing stims and all this anti-bioweapon weaponry. So it would have been really good if you find documents about the BSA being a bit dodgy, because then if you don't know, because you don't know what Chris is doing at this part, so you're thinking, is he under orders from the BSA? And they're a bit shady now, so maybe that's what's going on. Then you find out at the end, oh, he's okay. Oh, he doesn't. He's not okay with that. You build it up, and then you establish that he's not with them anymore, and it's perfect because then instead of going, instead of having that moment of, why does he not like them anymore?
Yeah.
I don't understand. They're bad now, and then you read the concept art. It's like, oh, the now disgraced and it's like rotten agency. I'm like, they're good.
Thanks for the information, guys. Yeah, that would have helped put some bits together.
Yeah, and then we're on a plane. Damn, I'm so sad about Ethan. Sir, they're using bioweapons. Get the fuck out of the way, Neil. Ooh. Oh, I'm gonna get a sequel. Great, let's go to the European HQ.
I'm gonna get a sequel.
In Europe. Should we call Jill? No.
Someone's gotta pay.
I mean, that's the one thing that makes it all okay for me is that, like I said, this seems to be building into a trilogy of sorts. 7 sets up 8. 8, at the very end, sets up a 9. And I'm like, okay, I mean, I've enjoyed 7. I've enjoyed 8. I'll enjoy 9, probably. Whenever that comes around, and we'll just see what they've got in store for us as far as the story goes, and that'll be that. It's just like how we approached 8 and not watching anything about it until we finally played the game. I'm completely fine with not even speculating about the end of 8 until 9 actually shows up. I'll be like, oh, now I can tie 8 to 9 because I have actual concrete evidence of what they're trying to do, which it may still be bad, but
I've got I've got some ideas about 9, and I would like to talk about that eventually, but I do want to get back to the other bit in a minute. Yeah. You go ahead though, whatever you were going to say.
I should say it ties to the end. I have concerns about the direction of the series, but it's only because of the films, and I'm scared.
I haven't seen any of the
films. They're gonna do an Alice, and I'm really scared that they're gonna do that with a character.
That's a potential problem, but
that could hurt.
One more thing I want to finish about Chris's section. I think the reason why I didn't like it as opposed to you guys, I mean, like I felt the tonal whiplash, the fact that we very much like moved from an everyman, and I like Ethan Winters. I'm sorry, I just hang myself on that sign. I like Ethan Winters. So you're supposed to, obviously it's like a weird shift, and it's very anticlimactic, and they did that on purpose, and I understand that, especially now with the context of the end of the game. I understand.
Yeah.
But at the time, I was like, oh, I don't think I like this anymore, because suddenly I've got Alpha Squad Bravo 2 like in my ear, and I'm like gunning everything. Yeah. Like if I'd realized then, oh, this is just going to be like a blip in the part of the game. It's not a very big part of the game, but like I took them at their word, especially when they showed the photo and they said Ethan Winters confirmed dead. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, he gets his heart ripped out and like crushed. That's one of those things where it's like, okay, that's not an off-screen death. That's a fucking here's his heart. We've crushed it.
Yeah, it's a bit hard to write around that. I mean, they did, but like
they did. They did, and it was set up all the way in 7 apparently. So
we'll get to that.
I kind of go, okay, fine. Yeah, I guess the egg's on my face because I should have known he was a mold man from the get-go.
Well, I think we're pretty much there now. I mean,
just go with it.
Yeah,
go with the flow, yo.
Chris finds Mia and finds Miranda's lab with all of the things that she's written down, so that we understand like what she's been up to.
Yeah, and Mia's alive.
Mia's alive, which I thought was interesting because like,
hold on, guys. She's a mother. She's Mama Mia. Okay, continue.
Here she goes again.
Here she goes again. Okay, sorry about that.
What was I saying?
Not really. I'll do it again.
Yeah, so like he finds Mia. Mia is okay, and Mia says, "You don't understand how important Ethan is." And then we kind of like linger on that for a second, and then we start to fade to black, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, right, Ethan isn't dead after all." Now, first I thought it was a plot hole, that like because I figured, how do you get up and walk around without a heart? I guess maybe you regenerate a heart. So
have you seen a politician before?
I thought he had regenerated. I thought he had regenerated his heart. So then my question was, why didn't his fingers regenerate? But then I was reading some people online, and they were saying, oh, we don't think his heart regenerated. He just had enough kind of like mold or juice in him to like work without his heart for a while, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So I guess we'll go with that, and that's why he can reattach stuff, but he can't regrow stuff, I think.
Right. Yeah, he lost those fingers in that werewolf's mouth.
Yeah.
He never got them back to put them back on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, the revelation, of course, is that Ethan Winters has been dead since the beginning of Resident Evil 7, basically. Whether they planned it or not, I'm not so sure. I mean, like, there are some things that lean towards it. There are some things that could just be happy coincidences. For instance, there's a book. Like, there are quite a few books in Resident Evil 7 that you can just kind of see dotted around the place, and some of them mean nothing. Like, one has just got 2020 written on it. But there is another one called They Killed Him, which people have been pointing out, like, oh, they killed him, and it was in plain sight the whole time.
No.
I mean,
no.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cute, and maybe
cool
that's not meant to be like the developers telling you that Ethan is dead. That's just a coincidence, if you ask me. It's just really not on the nose enough when you're literally playing a character who is still worried about his life, even if it is considered an unlife. And hey, they said there were no zombies in Resident Evil 8. We got Ethan right there. Undead man.
Mold man.
And incidentally, the most efficient zombie ever. And that's kind of hilarious. And all the tens of years that pharmaceutical companies have been trying to create the perfect bioweapon. Like, literally, it just existed in a hole in the ground in Romania for, like, thousands of years anyway.
Just need some black mold.
Perfectly intelligent, fully functional, sexually reproductive human being, like, who can regenerate, like, well, not regenerate as we've proven, but, like, can at the very least reattach limbs with the aid of, like, medicinal fluids, I guess. Yeah, just
fine.
Yeah, it sort of
generic
activates the healing.
Yeah. But yeah, so like Ethan's dead, and I guess like that whole section where he's walking in the cold is supposed to signify the kind of the data banks of the muted mycene or whatever it's called, because that's why Evelyn is there, and that's why it's kind of like he's close to death but not quite, so he kind of sees this realm, whatever. Anyway, and then he wakes up in Duke's van, and Duke is doing him a solid. Like, he's like, you need to take me to Miranda, and Duke's like, I'm already there.
Yeah,
I'm on it, bro.
Yeah, I've got this.
he knows so much.
He's like the ghost of Christmas present to me. He's just so happy and full of life. I love that man.
Yeah, it's see. I had I think when I was watching the stream, I may have yelped out "what" because it was no Ethan died back in the Baker residence. I'm like, but the mold had already got to him and infected him. It's like,
I don't think that was originally the plan, but I think someone
No, I
took a
don't
look
think it was.
between 7 and 8 as they were working out the story, and they said, why can he attach limbs? Why, why can he take more damage than most people? And they came up with this idea that kind of works. Because, I mean, there are things in Resident Evil 7's internal logic that don't fit. For instance, like, there's that whole thing with who are you going to give the cure to, Mia or Zoe? And like, I thought at the time, isn't it weird how like they don't mention the fact that Ethan would need one as well?
I thought he took one. Doesn't he take one?
No.
Yeah, because there's
He
two of
uses
them.
one on Jack.
He takes one, and then he gives one to. Oh, he gives one. Yeah, he uses one on Jack.
He doesn't use one ever. So this whole kind of like, I can't leave. This is where I'm supposed to live, because she's all sad because you didn't give her the injection or whatever. And like, it's like, where's Ethan's injection? Ethan doesn't get one. And so I thought at the time that kind of logic doesn't follow, because like it's so important that Mia needs one. Where's Ethan's? And I guess it's like because Ethan's got like just the right kind of DNA or something that when the mold infects him, he can like perfectly take all the aspects of the mold, the good stuff, and leave the bad stuff behind.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of like Wesker. Wesker was that one guy who could actually take the Ouroboros and not turn into a monster. He stayed himself, became the perfect life form.
Chris.
7 minutes to play with you,
I mean, isn't the whole thing with Alfred Wesker as well that he was like, I can't remember all the lore now, but something about he might have been a special child or something.
Yeah, it was a cloning project, I think, that Spencer initiated, and also he had that experimental virus from William Birkin as well. That he was like, look, I'm going to give this. If it all goes to tits in the Arkley Mansion, just use this, all right? It's like, fine, I will do it. I'm Malcolm McDowell for some reason now.
Yeah, that's right, because that's how he survives the tyrant, right? Because the tyrant gouges his chest out, and he's like, well, fuck it.
Even that is kind of funny, because he's like, we're fighting over the T virus and the G virus when you've already got something that's better than both.
Yeah, that was one where it's like, but Spencer, like, she's immortal, isn't that what you want? And he's like, oh, but then to bring the human race to the next evolution, I'm like, no, I thought it was a selfish thing that I don't know. It's
well, I mean, everything that conversation comes from is old notes that were left behind when we get to that point, Resident Evil 8. It could very well have been Spencer just didn't put it together at the time, thought he'd do something better, and then it turned out wrong. Like he did the wrong thing, and Miranda did the right thing all this time.
Like Spencer's incredibly like arrogant and like horrible person. So it's also quite possible that he just kind of thought he could do it by himself on his own.
I want it to be mine.
Yeah, exactly.
I will say
Lawrence from Bloodborne.
Yeah, well, I don't know who that is, but yeah, I will soon, hopefully.
Fear the old blood.
But yeah, I didn't mind. I wouldn't say that I would I out and out liked it, but I didn't mind the way that they recontextualized a lot of the things we know about Umbrella, and the series as a whole, based on the fact that it comes from this book. I mean, I would argue, who the fuck chiseled the thing in the cave, like, etc., etc. Yeah. Like, why is that there? Why is there all these houses when, like, she probably, if she was Miranda, and Ava died in something like 1900, right? Very early. You can find Ava's grave. Actually, I found it in the graveyard.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, it's there, and it's got a date. So I think it's like 1903 to 1911 or something like that. So like we're talking about 100 years, right? Presumably, the carvings on the wall in that cave are older than that. So why are there the houses with the names? If like, do you know what I mean? It's like it doesn't quite add up to me. So
Yeah, I felt like the Umbrella logo reveal was a bit disappointing because it's like, oh, how does this play into? Oh, this is curious. It's like, oh, we found it on a cave. Oh, and I'm going to use it as the logo for my company.
yeah, it was front and center in a lot of the initial teaser stuff, and everyone was kind
Yeah.
of like, "Oh, Umbrella must have been here," and it's like, no, it's the opposite. Umbrella was created
here. Yeah.
Like, surely Blue. Maybe that's why. That might. Then again, that might explain why Blue Umbrella would have known about Miranda, which is why Chris would have known about her. I suppose. And that's the Connections as well, which is a terrible villainous name. We are the Connections. Like, might as well just call them the Syndicate or something else. The Connections.
Well, yeah.
What are they Spectre? Is that what they are?
It's a great TV show, but like basically the big bad in Mr. Robot is called Evil Corp. Well, they're called E-Corp, but he's programmed himself to call them Evil Corp, and so every time you see them, they're called Evil Corp because of what Mr. Robot thinks.
That's cool. I like that.
Mr. Robot. It's a bit more complicated than that.
Yeah, I need to watch that.
It's a great show.
Yeah, I've heard it's really good.
Good ending as
well.
well.
I wasn't
Sticks the landing.
Really,
in my opinion. Yeah.
Good. It's like Oh, that's good because I like series that have a good ending. Like I like the ending to Breaking Bad, and that's why I liked El Camino as well. But I'm sure Better Call Saul will be great.
I
but
love Better Call Saul. I cannot wait for it to come back. It is amazing.
Lalo is fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
He's so scary. He's like a Terminator. But anyway,
so
yeah, the reveal of the Umbrella logo was.
We've reached the end now, haven't we? So,
yes, we have.
So Ethan dies. So sad.
Yeah, Ethan dies, but then doesn't die. He comes back enough to fight Miranda for his daughter, which is nice, and it's a nice way to finish. It's alright, I think.
It's like 11.
Yes, we're just finishing up.
Sorry. You know what? I'm thinking that my wife is probably downstairs thinking the exact same thing.
No one's doing that for me. I live in a different time zone. It's only 4:58 p.m.
All right, well, let's wrap it up then. Okay.
Yeah, we're going to we're wrapping it up now. It's fine. We're talking about the ending, and then I'll be done. Okay. Anyway.
No worries. So yeah, well, let's just skip to the end then. He fights Miranda. He saves his daughter. It's kind of fitting that he does that as his last act, and then blows her up. I think it was kind of a missed opportunity. It was a missed opportunity that we didn't see Ethan's face. I think
it's dumb that they're still blanking it out, even in the character model viewer at the end of the game when you could buy it and it's just black right there. And it's like, all right, fine, I guess.
The perfect send-off for the character would have been to finally kind of pan up and see his face.
Yeah, especially when you see his daughter later grown up, and you see the Mia in her face, but you can't see the Ethan in her face because you don't know what Ethan looks like.
You can if you've Googled it. If you know what Ethan looks like by Googling, then you can see the resemblance.
It's just like, it would have been a really impactful moment, I think, because he's stumbling towards the Megama site that was strangely only like protected by one Chungus, and Chris is like, well, that was easy. Time to throw a knife with a bomb.
I was sure the knife was going to slide out or something, and that would be a plot part, and it just wasn't.
Yeah, he walk away and it falls out. But
Chris doesn't make any more mistakes. Not after Piers and all of his squad mates.
And also not telling Ethan stuff, but
that as well.
But yeah, it would have been a perfect time for, he's stumbling forward, he's got the detonator in his hand, camera and it pans up and you just see his face and his determined expression one final time. You get to see it once.
Yes.
I think that would have been better.
And you're like, yeah, right on. You just get to see him. He can look sad. He can have a tear in his eye, whatever. But it would be able to show that one final moment of determination and in expression on his face, because he's a very determined man mold.
Mold man.
And it would have been a really good. It would have been really impactful. It's kind of like, have either of you seen The Mandalorian?
No.
Nope.
And
but I did think it would say it would. I did say it would be funny if they panned up and his face was actually Steve Buscemi.
Hello.
I watched Con Air the other night. It's still an amazing film, by the way.
Yeah, I love Connor. Yeah.
Hello, fellow children. Hello, fellow protagonists. But there's really emotionally impactful moments in The Mandalorian because of reveals like that, and it works wonderfully well. And it's a massive tearjerker. I'm not afraid to say. But it would have been something like that where you finally see his face, and it's
Yeah, it would have
because
been
he's
great.
I feel like that would have
and
been
he's
more emotional than what we got, which was like Chris punching a wall. And basically, I made the joke on stream, and then I turned up for your stream and made the same joke. It's like, damn it, I loved him too. Shut up, Mia.
Then you get the moment, sir. The BSA unit weapons. Fuck out of the way, man. Sequel, yes. They're using bioweapons. Oh,
Yeah,
that would
so
have been nice. Oh,
okay, so my one big question, right, is because I sat there and I thought after the credit scene, because the end credits we see Rosemary Winters. I'm guessing it's something like 2035 or something because she looks to be about 16 to 18.
I don't know.
You reckon she grows
I-
fast?
Yeah, because
Probably.
the guy that makes the terrible joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
It's an
just show him
awful
like, oh, dude. There's the guy who goes, I got the shot, and he goes, no, she's just a kid. I'm like, so she could be like 15, 16 maybe, but you don't call a 16-year-old a kid, do you? It might be long.
Vampire mommy dummy.
That has passed. Anyway, but yeah, it's because of the wordage when he says she's just a kid. And it sounds like she's going out on assignment with Chris. I'm
That's
not
fair
sure. Maybe
enough.
she does.
I mean,
Maybe.
accelerated
tell.
aging is a possibility that I would not rule
Yeah.
out. But I was going
I
to
wouldn't
say,
rule it
if
out.
I feel like at the moment Resident Evil has got like a rather sweet spot where they can do the remakes that are definitely in the past,
Yeah.
or they've got what is the current timeline. And I thought it was quite clever if they are pushing it forward a bit, like so it's not
Yeah.
like present day, because it's kind of hard to believe in present day that things are happening in the way that they're happening in the Resident Evil universe because their universe is so different to us. So I thought it was actually quite clever if they are kicking the ball down the road a bit in terms of the future.
Maybe.
But
yeah,
I mean, it could also be
it'll
accelerated aging.
It could be, yeah. And they might hand over and go, oh, she only accelerated up to this age, and we were able to stop the process.
Yeah,
because
the one thing that's for that, I will
oh,
say the one thing that's for that is because if we are moving into, because we've already talked about we need to go to BSA headquarters, we need to make them pay. That's very kind of like happening in 2021.
Yeah.
And if we are going to have a massive time skip, we kind of lose. Like it's very hard to go back to that.
yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
why I
pretty
think
sure
I'd be
she has
fine.
accelerated aging. That was an EV thing. They set that up in RE7. I think.
Maybe Umbrella to help. I
Yeah.
don't know. They might be able to suppress it.
Yeah. I mean, the
Now,
suppressor thing is a good idea. I mean, they could literally make up anything and we'll eat it right up. So it's fine. And I'm pretty sure they, with enough testing, like she says she's getting ready for some tests. You know how it is. It sounds like she's talking about school, but we know that's more like lab tests and that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and I don't think like the research that they have done on Evie up to the point that they had her will definitely be conducive to that research that they have with Rosemary now. So I'm sure the aging thing being an issue, that would be the thing to tackle first, because that's that it'll be a problem if she ages out and then they have to get another Rosemary, which would be very difficult with a dead Ethan. So.
But is he dead? Because that's his
But not
character model at the
impossible.
end.
They can exhume him and probably restore his DNA and implant it in an embryo. Like, because Mia's still alive, so they can just wheel her ass in and take an egg and go for it and make another Ethan, and then they can make as many Rosemarys as they want.
I know. I have seen
Blue
people,
Umbrella.
I've seen people online say, "Oh, Ethan's not dead because that's his character model at the end." It's like they reuse assets all the time.
They do.
LVB.
That's yeah, exactly. And
It's pretty good.
Instead of making a brand new model to have a person walking towards the cemetery, you just use an existing one because Ethan's wearing like regular clothes.
It's also a nice Easter egg. It's something that you can't tell from just watching it properly, but if you use the photo mode, it's kind of like a hidden thing. And I mean, it comes 2 minutes after a big black screen that says the father's story is now done. Stop asking us for more Ethan Winters. It's finished.
I would like to have seen more of him. It's a shame they've killed him off so soon, especially when there's so many characters that have been in the series since the beginning that seem like they feel bulletproof at this point. Like they are never going to kill off Chris.
No.
Well, being a Borderlands fan and how they, sorry about the spoiler, but I'm sure everyone knows that who plays Borderlands 3 by now, how they killed off Maya and how everyone fucking hated that so much. There's no positive twist to it. And honestly, my objective opinion is that it was poorly done as well, but I'm not going to get angry about it. If they kill off Chris, Jill, Barry, etc., it's just going to be a real downturn for the series. I don't think it would lose a lot of fans, but they have to be really careful when they do that and not do that like a bunch of times in one game.
Chris, Barry, they're all dead because we've got Rosemary and the Avengers now. Which is one thing I'm worried about. So I said earlier that I'm a bit concerned about where they're going with Rosemary. I'm worried that it's going to be like it could, not that it's going to be, that it could turn into, you know how the movies had Paul W.S. Anderson's wife in the main title role, who then had superpowers and was the only one to have superpowers, and she was better than all the other characters in the film. I'm concerned that it's going to be a thing of, well, Rosemary's got like all these powers and she's super now. And
Chris doesn't even know she can do.
Yeah, and it's like,
yeah. Well, that just sets up also. Sorry.
Because it's like the worst thing you can do is make other characters, important characters, feel insignificant in comparison. It's like, well, oh yeah, but they could send Chris to go and deal with that bioweapon, or they could just send Rosemary because she's like Miranda. I'm like, she's good. Like, it's not too bad. That's I'm a bit concerned.
Yeah, and with the whole Megamycete memory thing, she does have Miranda's abilities, probably, right? Like she could do those things.
Maybe, and at the very least, I mean, presumably she's got like some kind of ghost version of Ethan knocking around inside her head as well.
Yeah.
So that's the question actually. Why does Miranda's powers start to fail? She has that line when she's giving Cheryl. When she's trying to, summon the cult's god by sacrificing Cheryl Mason, and she's but yeah, she's like, my powers are fading, and I remember at the time thinking, why?
My only guess on that, because I saw that my second playthrough when I streamed it. My only guess is that Rosemary being created in that moment was a catalyst to drain Miranda of her abilities and become like the actual the avatar of the Megamycete, if that makes any sense. Like Rosemary unknowingly just took all of it, took all the power from everyone.
Because the sentiment was like, the Megamycite's dying, so it's like, so Rosemary's obviously like a completely different thing. So how? But if that, I'm just trying to figure out how it all. I mean, I'm sure they'll come up with something creative at some point, but I just don't want it to get too not outlandish, but superhero-ish, where it gets a bit too big. I don't want it to go back to like, do you remember 6 when 6 was like too big? It's like, it's global now. I'm like,
I must say, I prefer my Resident Evil on a smaller scale, and I mean that's why. I'm glad that both exist, but if you had to put a gun to my head, I prefer 7 to 8.
Yeah, I think they're both fantastic games. I've warmed up to 7 so much more over the years. I wasn't super like championing it back in the day because I wasn't. It's been so long since we played a game like that. I think that a traditional survival horror game that played like a Resident Evil had been so long.
Podcast as well.
Yeah. But over time, no, 7's a fucking good game, and it still absolutely holds up as well. I've been watching people stream it. It's still good. And 8, despite the nitpicks or any issues I have with story or concerns, it's still fucking good, and it's one of the best AAA. I hate saying AAA, but one of the best AAA games that I've played in a really fucking long time. I'm trying to think. Demon Souls. Demon Souls is great, but it's from Software Guy. It's a remake anyway, but yeah, like Cyberpunk, failure. It's a failure. I uninstalled it. I ain't playing that shit again. Because it'll probably take another year to fix it completely. But like Returnal's good, but it's not like an existing franchise. But this is like not only a great, really good AAA game, it's a really good sequel as well in a really old series. It's a really old franchise now, Resident Evil, when you think about how old it is now. It's
it's one of the oldest franchises at this point.
Yeah, it's still going, and it's outlived its contemporaries. Like it's outlived. I mean, let's face it, it's outlived Silent Hill. It's outlived the Alone in the Dark series. It's out. I mean, Alone in the Dark was before, but was still making games at the same time. It's outlived all these survival horror games, and it has continued to evolve and change over time. And it did lose its way with the latter half of 5 and 6. But then they took over all the criticism of World for 6 and they made Revelations 2, which is really fucking good. Resident Evil Revelations 2 does not get enough love. I don't think it's a really good game.
So bad either.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
you
pretty
can
good.
tell that there was an effort to return to a smaller scale horror experience as opposed to an action.
And it's continual, and it's Village is really, really. I just keep saying to people like it's just really fucking good, and you should absolutely play it. And that's things like because there's people say, oh, but I've spoken about the stuff I didn't like so much. The only reason that stuff stood out so much is because the rest of it is so good. That's the only reason, is because it is so good, and it is so well made, and it is so competently made and well crafted, and so much lovingly made. And you can tell they had fun making it. Like you can always feel when a filmmaker or a developer enjoys something that they're creating, because it just bleeds through. It comes through. It absolutely comes through. And
I mean, we're running out of time now, but so we can't really touch on the Mercenaries. But like
we don't need to worry about that anyway.
If I had one complaint, like I don't have any complaints with the game apart from maybe Mercenaries mode. I think that was very slapdash, very poorly handled.
Yeah, kind of like the Village of Shadows difficulty, which we're not gonna have time to go through anyways. But Village of Shadows, what I've seen, looks like we're just gonna crank the numbers up, including the enemy numbers, and just have the players deal with it. Because who gives a shit?
Yeah,
they'll play it.
Maxed out weapons and unlimited ammo, and that's what I'll do. All I'll say about Mercenaries is I tried it again over my lunch break. It's shit. It says like Tommy was saying, oh, you can play it the way you want to. No, you can't, because buy the shotgun, buy the sniper rifle. Otherwise, you're not going to get an S rank, because there's so many enemies.
Pistol. The trick seems to be with Mercenaries is you just have to pick a weapon, sell everything else, upgrade that weapon to max, and get the buffs that relate to that particular weapon.
That's even worse then.
Yeah, it's even worse.
So it's I guess in some ways it does. If your playstyle is sniper rifle or shotgun, then you can play it your way. But the way to do it is unequivocally to sell everything else, upgrade it to max, and you have to keep a combo going. But like the main trick to that is just like not killing everything in an entire room, so that when you come back through, you can just pop something else on the way through, kind of thing.
Get a conga line of them. Yeah. But that's the problem, like, because you think of Mercenaries mode. We were talking about this before the podcast, but Mercenaries mode in 3 is fucking great, and I can't believe that they haven't had another mode like that where you have to rescue civilians and stuff. I love
that mode so much.
Great. Yeah, that's what the UBCS was sent for, to do that, and you were playing as them, and it's great. You get to play as Carlos Small and all that stuff. I liked the Mercenaries mode in 4 and 5, and I completely forgot it was in 6. But what those modes already have over the Mercenary modes in this is that in Resident Evil 4 and 5's Mercenary modes, there were multiple characters, and there were multiple characters to unlock. This doesn't seem to have that. It's just you play as Ethan.
Yeah, that was the thing.
And you get all the weapons that I've seen so far, all the weapons from the main game.
Yeah. Like I popped in the Mercenaries for all of like 13 seconds, and I saw that I was playing as Ethan only. I'm like, I'm not doing this. Yeah, my favorite thing about playing Mercenaries in RE5 and 6 was the multiple characters, especially in 5 when you could play as characters you wouldn't normally be able to play as, like Excella Beowulf. Like you could play Wesker's fucking girlfriend. You could play Rebecca. Yeah, you can play as Ada. I think you can play as Ada. You can play as a bunch of people. And like that's what Mercenaries mode's supposed to be for me. I know that in RE3 Mercenaries, it's more of a literal term where the mercenaries are the UBCS saving people. That's cool too. Don't hate on any of that. But if you're gonna expand that at all, in RE5 the only option is to just give characters with their own unique attack animations, with their own melees and stuff like that. It's like, fuck yeah, I get to fucking play Barry Burton in a combat scenario. Just, it's awesome. Love it. 6 didn't really have that so much, but it had fun costumes. I had Chris Redfield in a fucking Ronin outfit. It was pretty great. But we are really going over time.
Yes.
We should
Okay,
end
so,
it up.
well,
pretty
yeah.
soon.
Resident Evil 8, pretty good.
Go
Yes,
buy it.
go buy
Cool.
it. It's worth it. It's fun.
Okay.
Good ride.
Well, then that leaves us, Axe, with you picking the homework for next week.
I honestly have I only have one thing in my head. It's not even good, so this will be fun, I guess. But there's a movie I've wanted to watch since we started the podcast. It's been in my short list of movies to throw in when I don't have anything else in my head, and it's White Noise with Michael Keaton.
Ah.
It's a
Awesome.
ghost story, and the reason why this one stuck with me so long is that when I saw it in theaters, it has like black shadow figures as the ghosts, and as a kid, I used to see stuff like that in reality. I don't know what that means, and they haven't come back, but I used to see like shadow humanoids like running like across the hallway or something, and then I would just roll over and go to bed. So when White Noise had those exact things in the movie, I was like, fuck.
Nice.
But so that movie has always stuck out to me, and
It'll
that's
be
the only
interesting
thing I'm looking forward to seeing.
It'll be interesting for me because I've only seen the sequel to this movie.
Oh, I didn't even know there was a sequel. The first movie was
there is
alright.
a sequel.
Yeah.
It's called like what is it called? Like White Noise, the figures or the feature. Oh,
It's called White Noises.
Colin.
it's got like an additional. What was it? Because it
White
came
Noises.
out roughly at a time where like I was going to the cinema with a girlfriend at the time, so I think we went and saw the second one. I'm sure it had White Noise Delight. Yeah.
Mm.
So it'll be interesting for me because I've only seen the sequel.
Okay, so that's my
Nathan
homework.
Fillon's in the sequel. Wow.
Oh, Nathan, no.
No. Hey, you gotta get your footsteps in somehow.
I will
you
say
know?
Michael Keaton's great. I've loved him in everything I've ever seen him in, so I'm looking forward to it.
My other choice was the Sadako versus Kayako movie, but you guys didn't really seem all that interested last time we talked about
Oh
that.
no,
so-
keep that one in the
fine.
chamber for next time, you know?
Sorry, I just need to go and jump out the window. I'll be right back.
Jump out the window.
Okay, so White Noise, I can do
Yeah,
it.
White Noise, that's cool. All right, well, we will move on to the plugging of the things then, and if we start with UX.
I'm a streamer. Axton1061 names on the screen there. I stream action games, classic FPS games. I have a bend towards dark fantasy like Hexen and Castlevania and stuff like that. I also like fighting games, but I no longer stream them. But you're more than welcome in the Discord to join in. We have a casual experience with those. So if you're interested in any of that, go ahead and give me a follow on Twitch there.
Good stuff. Lost in the Warpipe.
Yes, I play a variety of games, although predominantly a lot of horror at the moment. I've just come off the back of my 1 year anniversary celebration week-long stream that's lasted like 5,000 hours last week. So this week is a little lighter on content. So tomorrow we're playing Valheim. Wednesday I'm continuing my Chicago run in Bloodborne, and Sunday I'll be playing Vermintide 2, Barotrauma, and maybe Devour. Or I think I'm playing Left 4 Dead actually with my Twitch team, the Clock Tower team. So that's what I'm doing. I'm also in the process of editing my 4-hour or 4.5 hour long playthrough of Devotion. I'm cutting it all down to making it to cut all the dead air, and I'll be releasing that in 30-minute chunks on my YouTube channel while also editing other stuff for my YouTube channel.
Look forward to that. I actually wasn't able to catch the stream, so I'm going to look forward to that.
It's good. It's a good game.
Yeah, I would like to watch that as well, because I tuned in for a little bit of your VOD, and you were scared of all the same kind of things I was, so it was great.
It's horrible, but I loved it.
My name is
It's
Garlips. I stream stuff. This week I'm carrying on with Near Replicant. I am streaming Silent Hill 4 on PC. I'm going to start Alan Wake because you do not need a good excuse to replay Alan Wake. And on Friday, I'm finally going to start my new hard game slot. So before it was The Last of Us Part 2 Grind Mode, but now I'm beginning Demon Souls. I'm going to do Demon Souls, Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, Bloodborne, Sekiro. So, like, it's going to be wall to wall, me screaming at things, not understanding how they work, and I really do not want help. So please don't help me.
If you do want help, let me know, especially if I'm in the chat, and
Okay.
I will offer assistance.
I'm
and I'm also happy to
constructing-
offer assistance physically as well.
I'm constructing a pain chamber that I can like lie inside, suspended.
You're gonna look like hell when you come out of that pain chamber.
Yeah, if you do need help physically in game, do let me know, and if I'm available, I will load it up.
No worries, no worries.
Because it gives me an excuse to play it again.
Cool.
What a shame.
Excellent. So, all that remains to be said is thank you for joining us on the podcast today. If you
Thank
were in
you.
our live audience, an extra special thank you to you. And
Super thank you.
we will meet up in, I guess, a fortnight, and we will be watching White Noise with Michael Keaton.
Mm-hmm. Like, not like with him, but he's in the movie.
Oh, I'm really disappointed.
I mean, he can't be in all our houses at once.
I just need to tell him I've got to cancel.
I was
them.
thinking, yeah, more kind of like you have him on Tuesday, we'll have him at the weekend.
I want him at the weekend.
He seems really nice.
He
Just as a
seems
person.
really nice.
Okay.
And he was Batman, you know?
True. Keep us safe. He would keep us safe.
Keep us safe. God bless you, Michael Keaton. Anyway, thanks
All
for
right.
showing up.
Good night, everybody. Thank you for being here.
Bye. Thank you.